All right, looks like we are live and on the air. All right, we made it. Look at that, guys. A little bit after 7 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock Eastern. I want to welcome you to my seven-figure email marketing secrets webinar. If we haven't met yet, my name is Aaron Rashkin. I'm excited for you to be here tonight. We've got lots of information to cover. And Danielle Wilson, my assistant, and one of my great friends, is riding shotgun with me. You can see her here at the bottom of the screen. Want to say hello, Danielle?
Hello, hello, Aaron. Great to be here with you. Great to be here with everybody on the line.
Yeah, we're excited. We got a lot of cool stuff tonight, and we know that your time is certainly important. We appreciate that. We respect your time. There's a lot we're going to be covering tonight, so I suggest you kick off your shoes if you're sitting back. Crack open your favorite beverage and grab something to write with. You want to jot down some notes because you never want to leave your future or your fortune to your memory. I learned that 20 plus years ago. And funny, I was just actually cleaning out some old notebooks a few days ago, Danielle, and I have literally dozens and dozens of notebooks, black and white marble composition notebooks, filled with notes that I took when I went and sat in front of the top income earners and leaders in whatever company I was marketing over the last 2 decades. I have so much to go through. I'm so excited because I'm actually going to review all these notebooks over the next year or two. Literally, that's how long it'll take me to review the amount of notes that I took when I first got started in the industry. And I'm excited to share with you. I've been in the home business industry now for over 2 decades. My story goes pretty deep. This is called going down the rabbit hole. And I can tell you, when I got started in home-based business back in the early 90s, things were very, very different than they are today. Matter of fact, so different, we didn't even have the internet back then. We used tools like fax on demand and toll-free numbers. We were doing a lot of, hard mailings, what are called hard mailings, where you mail postcards to people in your market. And so instead of doing things like blogging and social media and email marketing and pay-per-click advertising and running ads and so forth on the internet, we would do this stuff in newspapers, magazines, card decks, where we would be, snail mailing, literally the Pony Express, our offers in, number 10 envelopes with like licking stamps and putting name labels. We used to put names on Avery labels, and we would just have to mail those to all the people that we wanted to show our opportunity to. And we had a direct mailing system, very much like we have internet marketing systems. We have direct mail systems, or we had them, should I say, 20 plus years ago. And here we are now in 2015, where we literally work from our phones if we want, right? We work from our phones, we work from our laptops, we work from our devices, our tablets, and it's made life so much easier. And yet, at the same time, a little bit more complicated because there's more technology involved. And so when that happens, you get sometimes a little bit of confusion, a little bit of frustration, because it's a little bit different to write an email, right, than it is to fold up an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper with an advertisement on it and put it in the mail. So there's a lot of differences, obviously, in the way we do things these days. But the bottom line is that we're here to build a home-based business. And there's literally a million ways to $1 million. Excuse me. So a couple of things. I want to welcome if you're a first-time guest. I know there's a big event going on right now for the company that I'm a part of, and so there's probably thousands of people on that hangout. And I will say this. I never worry. I've been doing this now for over 2 decades. Like I said, I've spoken in front of audiences of up to 10,000 people before. And so this is never a concern of mine that we don't have the right number of people here or a larger group here. I always say don't worry about the people that aren't here because they're not supposed to be. The right people always show up for the right reasons. And you know what? The show always goes on, no matter how many people show up. I did this from day one when I first started doing live events and speaking in front of as many as 10,000 people and doing a live conference call for as many as one other person. And you know who that person was? It was me. I was the only person on that call. And so I can tell you, it's okay no matter who's here, no matter who's not here. The bottom line is that you're here And that's what matters most, because I'm going to be sharing some very, very powerful information with you about how I've been able to build a multiple seven-figure business in the last 6 years since I got on the internet back in 2008. And I'm going to share with you some really cool stuff and some tips, tricks, and strategies. I'm going to talk a little bit about the ways that I market. I'm going to show you some really cool things. I'm going to be using my Omni Doodle, it's called, or my Omni Dazzle. It's a little tablet. I'll show it to you real quick. It's a tablet, and it looks like this. It's made by Wacom. It's called the Bamboo Pen and Touch. And with this little trusty pen, it allows me to write on the tablet, right? And it's tough to see because the lighting is not so great. There it goes. You can see the tablet. It's got this like square here, and wherever I put the pen on the tablet, it writes on the computer. I just have to press a couple of buttons on my keyboard here, and that's how I can draw all over the screen. And so I'm going to be doing that in just a bit as I go through the information on my email marketing strategies. And just super excited. A couple of things I want to point out. First and foremost, I don't claim to know everything. I've just been privileged and blessed to be able to be self-employed, fully self-employed, where I haven't had a job, I haven't had a boss, I haven't had a salary, I haven't had an income from outside of free enterprise now for over 2 decades. I've had the opportunity to work with hundreds of thousands of people. I've met hundreds of thousands of people over the years. I've seen a lot of leaders, right? The rise of a ton of leadership and the fall of entire organizations. I've seen patterns with hundreds of thousands of people in different companies. I was actually a part of one of the fastest ever growing internet marketing companies back in the late 90s and early 2000s, if you can imagine this, going back about 15 years, right? I was a part of a company that put 100,000 people on auto ship in less than 18 months for a very small mom and pop shop type company. And the company grew so big so fast, I think it went from about 2.5 or 3 million a month to over 10 million a month inside of 6 months, that it almost put the company out of business. And I was a trainer for that company because at that time I was a relentless prospector. I used to buy leads and call lists of people. I would get literally down on my my phone, and I would just like put my headset on, and I would not know about anything but prospecting people over the phone for sometimes 10, 12, 15. I remember going sometimes over 15, 18 hours a day where I was tied to my phone, I was tied to my desk. I had a hardline phone. We didn't even have cell phones back then. And I had a cordless phone, so I would walk around my apartment or whatever it was. I had a headset on, and so I could kind of like walk around the area. But for the most part, I was on my hardline phone, which if you have been to any of the events I've spoken at lately, I've shared a story about my Mickey Mouse telephone where I called a lady by the name of Carol, and I bought her name from a lead generation company back in the back in the day, back in the early 90s. And she was on my list of leads, and so I gave her a call. She was the first person I ever called cold calling. And I had a script. I had this little booklet that they sent to me, in the mail. And I called Carol up and I said, right out of the script, I read the script. I said, "Hi, Carol. My name is Aaron Rashkin, and I'm getting back to you with information you requested about making money working from home." And I literally read it right out of the script book. And Carol said to me, "Where'd you get my name? How long have you been doing this? How much money have you made?" And I pressed the mute button on my Mickey Mouse telephone that I bought at the Salvation Army for $5 just a couple days before this. And I go, "Oh, fuck." And she says, "What did you say?" And I said, "Oh, crap, my mute button doesn't work." And I hung up. And that was my very first experience with cold calling leads. Well, sure enough, I was relentless, and I was not going to quit. I was not going to stop. I was not going to let Carol, who's asking me questions and had me backpedaling in the ring, stop me from being successful. And so I called somebody else. It took me a few minutes to kind of catch my breath and gather my thoughts, but I called somebody else immediately, and I read the script, and I got a little bit better. And then I read the script again with the next person, I got a little bit better, and I got a little bit better, and I got a little bit better. And over time, what happened for me was I became pretty good at cold calling these leads that I was buying. Problem was is that they didn't know who I was. And some of them, or should I say a lot of them, were very, very demanding on knowing the questions that they wanted to get answered, like who I was, where I got their number, how much money I made, how long I've been doing it, right? How much time have I been in the business and so forth. So I didn't know in the beginning, how things were going to turn out for me with cold calling, but I knew I didn't care about cold calling. What I cared about was my success. I cared about how I was going to live the rest of my life. I didn't want a job. I didn't want a boss. I didn't want to commute. I didn't want to have to drive to work in the dark every morning when I got up at 5 o'clock to go to the gym to be a personal trainer and train my clients, sometimes till 10 or 11 at night, and then I would work out. So I was literally sleeping in the gym some nights while I was building my network marketing business, from the personal training office. I was sneaking in calls. There was all sorts of things that I did to be successful, but the point is that I wasn't going to let anything stop me. But I went on like that for years, literally well over a decade. I think it was probably about 15 years that I called leads. I bought leads from lead generation companies. I made phone calls, and I did everything I could to prospect in the local marketplace. I was doing home parties. I was pitching what I call the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, and I wound up talking to people until they literally walked away from me, told me to drop dead, or just completely flat out ignored me. And that was how I built my businesses back in the early stages of my career. Well, about 6 years ago, 2008, I ventured onto the internet one night. I knew that there were people making money online. I knew that the internet, there had to be people generating a lot of income and making a lot of money. I just knew it. I just felt it in my blood. And you know what? I was reading a lot of magazines like Success Magazine and Work From Home Magazine and Home Business Connections Magazine and all these different magazines I was reading. And I was, learning about other successful people in our industry that were transitioning to the internet. So I went online, I Googled, make money from home. I found somebody's website. It turned out it was a kid who delivered pizzas for Domino's. And I watched a system that he developed, that he created, and I watched him walk me through the system, right? All the audience, whoever he was showing this to, he walked right through the system and showed how it works from start to finish. And I was blown away at the fact that not only was he making money, but he was doing it while he was driving for Domino's Pizza. He had a system that was fully set up and completely automated, and it blew my mind that people could make money, this much money, working from home on the internet using automation and technology, and it piqued my interest to the point where I had to know how he did it. I had to know how he did it. So I went into his website. I opted in. After I watched this video, I opted in. I put my email address in, and I went through the sales process, and I went through all of the videos that he took us through. And what happened was when I put my email address in, I heard a little ding, right, on my phone, and so, of course, I checked it, and there it was. I got an email from this guy. And the email was interesting because it was a little sales letter, and it linked right back over to the same page that I was on my computer. So here I am watching this video on the computer, learning about him and his company and his opportunity and what he does and how I could be a part of it. Yet I got an email from him within just seconds of putting in my information, and there it was, taking me back to the same place that I already was, but here I am on my iPhone, and I was watching this stuff on my computer. So a light bulb went on for me, and I thought, my God, this guy has it down. This guy's got it going on. I got to do what he's doing. I got to do what he's doing. And so I started researching a little bit more about email marketing. I started researching a little bit about automation and the technology in home-based business, because before that I was pitching the neighbors. I was having home parties. I had 40 people show up at my house on a Friday night and put their shoes at the front door. And I was steam cleaning my carpets every few months because, in the wintertime, especially here in Colorado, the carpets can get pretty dirty, right? People walking in dirt and sand and rocks, and we had all sorts of grease on our carpets. We had a lady show up for one of our home parties in a wheelchair. Bless her heart, she wheeled into our living room right across our, beige rug or our beige carpeting, and sure enough, we had tire marks on our family room rug or our carpet. So, I just said, I have had enough of this. We have got to figure out a way to make money working online without having to do these home parties and hosting all these events, going to hotel meetings, and just kind of chasing our tail, trying to figure out how to be successful working from home, right? But we wanted to do it, obviously, using the internet. And that's where we are today. That's where I am today. That's where thousands of my partners and I are today. We have literally, thousands of people that we work with on a daily basis. We all work using the same, simple concepts and strategies and ideas. And I'm going to be sharing with you some of the things that I personally have done to build very, very profitable businesses in the last 6 years. Matter of fact, I worked in my very first company. What happened was I did a little bit of research, and I found out that there was a young gentleman in the company I was in 6 years ago, right? He was in the same multi-level marketing company, and I met this gentleman at an event in Las Vegas, and he told me that he had been on a bunch of my training calls, listening to me prospect, and recruit people from cold lists. And he told me, he came up to me at this event in Vegas, and he says to me, I've been listening in on your calls. I love what you're doing. He said, I wrote a training manual, and I'm going to be sharing it with my team, and I'd really love to get your feedback. And I said, yeah, sure, man. I gave him my business card. He gave me his. And I said, yeah, just contact me in the next couple of weeks or whatever. And knowing that there's a lot of people that want to share their ideas with you and show you their new best new strategy that they want to implement into their business to try to make a jillion into jiffy. And I was so brainwashed into thinking that the old school marketing strategies of making my list and cold calling leads and pitching everyone that can fog a mirror, right? If they had a pulse, I wanted to talk to them and inform them. I wanted to find out more about them and their occupation and their recreation, what they do in their free time and their family, and what are their motivations, and see if they were a perfect fit for my business, because I was the hunter, right? As many of us are in the home business industry, we're taught to be hunters, to be sharks, to go out there and get the fresh kill and go talk to people at gas stations. I'll never forget, I used to drive my car to the gas station right across the street from my apartment where I lived in San Diego at the beach. I would literally park my car at the gas station, put $1 worth of gas in just so I could talk to the person at the other pump putting in $20 or $30 worth of gas or $50 worth of gas, right? And I would talk to them and try to strike up conversation. And if things went well, great. We exchanged phone numbers, business cards. I would give them a flyer or a brochure or a DVD or a CD or something, or a cassette tape. Back in the early 2000s, there were still cassette tapes floating around, right? And so, once that conversation was over, I'd put my $1 worth of gas in, and I would drive around the other side of the island, and I would go put another $1 worth of gas in. And while my pump was, fueling up my car, the gas pump, I would go talk to the next person on the other island, and I would do this literally for a couple hours. I would put in sometimes $20 in a guest session, and I would recruit, and I would see if I can connect with people. And it's funny, I actually did sign people up that way. I would meet them. I would go into the gas station and go pay my $1. And the guy who worked in the gas station knew my strategy. He was already onto me because he had watched me for some time, and he was also laughing as I would come in sometimes to follow the people into the store, right, into the gas station, like the little convenience store area. And he knew I was prospecting for my network marketing business, and he would laugh, and he wouldn't say anything to the people, but he would always crack jokes at me because I lived across the street, and I would go over there to buy water and whatever else I was buying. So he knew my story, and it was just pretty funny. But that's what we used to do. Anyway, so I met this guy, Mike, and he says, I want to send you my book. And I said, okay, send me your book. Well, a couple weeks later, I get a phone call, and Mike says, hey, man, I'm the guy you met in Vegas, and I want to send you my book. I said, okay. So he got my address, ships it out. I get it a few days later. It was a weekend. It was a rainy Saturday, and I wasn't really into reading the book at that very moment. So what did I do? I threw it on my desk. It was in a priority mail bag or FedEx or something. It came in some special-looking envelope, and it was supposed to have been made important, but I didn't. I knew what it was, so I didn't think anything of it, and I threw it on my desk, and it sat there for a week. And then about a week later, I don't even remember what it was. I think it was probably another rainy Saturday, if I remember correctly. I was in the house. Kids were running around, and I tore open this mailbag or whatever this package was, priority mail, and I sat down on the couch, started reading it. It was kind of loud in my house, so I just kind of blocked everything out. And sure enough, I read this little book. It's called Magnetic Sponsoring. You can actually, it's not even sold through an affiliate offer anymore. It's on Amazon, but I read this little book, and it changed my life, because what I learned in that little book, when I combined that with what I saw in that video with that pizza delivery boy who was making 6 figures a month, it literally blew my mind. It blew my mind as to how people build businesses these days, when here I was doing home parties and hotel events and chasing people at the island of the car, or at the gas station, like moving my car every 10 minutes to try to talk to somebody new. Here are people literally sitting at home on the couch, at the living room tables, at their family room tables, in their kitchen, right, building lists, right, driving traffic, generating leads, and making sales. And what I learned in the book, right, when I learned in that little magnetic sponsoring book, that little handbook it was, that little paperback thing with the spiral-bound, edge, what I learned, right, was the cardinal rules to success in marketing online today, right? Build a list, build a relationship with your list, and learn to monetize it, right? When you learn how to do these 3 things, I had a great conversation with a new member on my own team today, and we were having this conversation about, there are 2 things, or should I say 3 things, that she'll do as long as we're working together. This is what I'm going to tell her to do all the time. Not just every day, but for the rest of her career in home-based business on the internet, right? The inter-network marketing business model, right? That's the revenue model that we have, right? Inter-network marketing, right? You're going to build a list. You're going to build a relationship with your list, and you're going to learn to monetize it. Right? I said to her, as long as you are part of my team, and as long as I'm working with you directly, I'm your mentor, right? I'm your trainer, right? If you're inspired by me, great. I got a ton of stories. I got a million stories to tell you and share with you, some funny stuff, right? I said, as long as you're around me, this is what you're going to hear. That's my message, right? Obviously, part of my message is transformation. It's about changing our lives. It's about changing other people's lives. It's about giving other people, right, what they want, so we can always get what we want. It's about lifting people up and raising people up and speaking life into people and giving more of yourself than what others think is wise, right? Stretching yourself further than you ever thought possible. It's about growth. It's about progress. It's about living your best life. It's about being free. It's about living a life of freedom, doing what you want, when you want, with whom you want, without ever having to ask for time off, a vacation, right? Be able to come and go as you please, work from wherever you want. Imagine that life. Well, that's what I imagined back when I got started in this industry, right, 20 years ago. 20 years ago. Can you imagine that? 20 years. And some of you, I'm sure, have been in the industry just as long as I have, if not longer. I know some of you that are watching in tonight have been in the industry for a long time as well, maybe 3 decades. I have friends that have been in the industry now for over 45 and 50 years. They're up in their 70s. They started in their 20s. They've been through all the different companies. They've been through a ton of different products and comp plans and opportunities and different leaders and different national or should I say corporate organizations, corporate teams and so forth. But you know what? Imagine, right? Imagine if your objective, imagine if your end game, right, the big picture for you, the big dream life that you want is not so much about some final destination. What if the journey, right? What if the journey is the destination? Imagine that. What if your journey is your destination? See, a lot of people look at my career, right? 20 years. First 15 years were in MLM, old school network marketing strategies, right? Now, sure, I wasn't making a lot of money, but I'll tell you what, I didn't have a job. I didn't have a boss. I didn't have to commute. I didn't have to wake up at the crack of dawn. I didn't have to, do anything I didn't want to do. I haven't had a job in 20 years. You know why? Because I didn't want to. Now, I didn't make a lot of money in the beginning, but I didn't care because I lived the way I chose to. I lived the way I wanted to. And you know what? When you find, well, I'm not even going to say that really, because you're never going to find happiness. You know where you might find happiness? You might find happiness in the dictionary. Okay? You're never going to find happiness. What you're going to do is you're going to be happy, right? Because first we got to be, then we got to do, then we can have, right? We be first, right? So really being happy and being fulfilled and being content and being, now I might say I'm content, but I don't think any producer is ever satisfied, right? That's why I'm here today, because I haven't shared a lot of what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. I haven't shared it yet. So there's a chapter in my book that hasn't been written yet, and that's why we're here tonight, because my goal is to serve the many, right? I think it was the late, great Jim Rohn, who I had the opportunity to share a stage with 3 different times, right? I spoke on stage with Jim Rohn 3 different times. I also met him 2 times before I spoke and shared a stage with him. But I met Jim Rohn, back in the late 1990s, right? Right before the turn of 2000. I met Jim Rohn at an event in Columbus, Ohio. I also hung out with him in Dallas, Texas. Then I wound up speaking with him and speaking on stage with him in multiple occasions in Los Angeles, also in Dallas again, one other time. And I think we were together one time in San Francisco as well. So the late, great Jim Rohn said that service to many leads to greatness. So find a way to serve the many, because service to many leads to greatness. And that's what I wanted. I didn't care about money. I'll never forget, I sat on the hood of my dad's rental car back in 1995, 20 years ago. My dad came out to visit me in San Diego, California. Here I was, moved out there for the very first time, away from home. I'm the only child, living 3,500 miles away from the rest of the family, in New York. And my dad, came out to visit me, he said. I think it was really to check up on me. And I had just quit my job. I totaled my car. I had no money left. I had no credit left. And I didn't have any money coming in. It's not like I was waiting on a big check like a lot of people when they quit their jobs. And my dad said, son, you don't have money, you don't have a car, you don't have any income, you don't have any credit left, you have no money in the bank, what the hell are you going to do? And he didn't laugh. It was a pretty serious matter of factly. But my dad said, what are you going to do? And I said, Dad, I don't need a job, I don't need a car, I don't need an income, I don't need credit cards, and I don't need money. Right? I said, because I have a dream. See, I had vision thinking. I had vision thinking at a very, very early age. Ask me how, I don't know. It was put inside of me, right? I was given a dream, right, by God, the universe, a higher source, right? My higher self, I don't know, you call it whatever you want, but I was given a dream. And I knew that it was my time to make it happen. Now, I was 23, 24 years old, and I had this dream. I knew that I was not supposed to be behind a desk. I knew I wasn't supposed to be in shirt and tie. I wasn't supposed to be wearing a suit. I knew I wasn't supposed to be at a job. I knew I wasn't supposed to work for somebody else, have a salary, right? I was making at that time as a personal trainer, you ready for this? $12.50 an hour. $12.50 an hour. Now that's higher than the average income, right? The what do they call that? Minimum wage salary or whatnot. I don't even know if that's right. Minimum wage. I was making $12.50 an hour, right? But I was working my butt off. I was getting up at 5 in the morning, like I told you earlier, when it was dark. I was driving home at the end of the day. When it was dark, right, it was 11 and 12 o'clock at night, I'd come home. I was eating out of an Igloo ice cooler with Tupperware and plasticware. I mean, I literally was wearing a short-sleeve T-shirt, right, with a collar on it and a pair of shorts to work in the middle of the winter, right, because I was a personal trainer, so I would, put on my personal training outfit, my little tie-dye fanny pack, and I would go to the gym and count backwards for my clients from 10 to 1 while they lifted weights. Like, that was my life. And I did it for so long, and I knew I was better than that. I knew I was better than $24,000 per year, right? I went to a network marketing meeting, a home business meeting back in let's see, I'd already gotten into my first company in 1991. So really, I've been doing this for 24 years, although I did take off for a few years between my first network marketing company that I joined and then my second one, which was about 4 years later, 4 years later. I don't remember exactly the month and so forth. But the point is that, I knew that there were people that were successful in doing the thing here, right? When Emerson said, when you do the thing, you'll have the power. Well, I was willing to do the thing. I wasn't afraid of hard work, and I was willing to work really, really hard so that I could be as lazy as I wanted to be, because I'm willing to, do the work and put the time and energy and effort in, as long as I know that there's, the reward for it. And the reward for me, big part of the reward is the gratification of helping a lot of people. And as a trainer, as a personal trainer in a gym, I could only help one person at a time. There weren't a lot of classes. I wasn't an aerobics instructor, so I wasn't teaching any classes. There was no CrossFit or boot camp or anything like that, and I hadn't thought of those ideas myself, so I thought there's got to be a better way for me to serve the many. There's got to be a better way for me to extend my reach, right, both directly and indirectly. There's got to be a bigger stage for me, because I knew that I wanted to be great. I knew that I wanted to serve the masses. I wanted to be able to connect with more people and be out there in the world showing more people who I am, what I do, and how they can be a part of it. And I didn't even have a vehicle yet. I didn't even have a vehicle yet to show them how to be different, how to transform, how to have a better life. I just knew that I saw that in my future. I saw a way of, being able to transform and give people better options in their lives so they had more choices and that they had more flexibility and the freedom to choose how they wanted to live, because I knew that was for me, and I knew that I couldn't be alone. I knew I couldn't be alone, right? So here's what I want to tell you. I want to tell you that no matter where you are in your life, wherever you're at in this world, watching this video or this hangout, right, watching this webinar, whether you're watching us live or recorded, I know we're going to have thousands of people who watch this over the course of time, right? My 7-figure email marketing strategies. Just know this. When your dream is big enough, right, when your dream is big enough, the how part will take care of itself, right? The how part will take care of itself. I didn't care about how I was going to get here. I didn't care about how I was going to be able to help the masses. I just had a dream to do it. And it just so happens that the home business industry and the profession that we're in of network marketing and now inter-network marketing, right? This allows me to live the life of my dreams, right? I wake up when I'm done sleeping. I get dressed when I want to get dressed. I leave the house when I want to leave the house. Sometimes I don't even leave the house, especially where I live in Colorado. When we get a foot of snow in an afternoon or a morning, who needs to leave unless I want to go sledding with my kids, or I want to go out to go have some fun and four-wheel around the neighborhood? That's what I consider a life, because while we're having a life, we have a business that's funding it all, right? So how does email marketing play a part here? Well, remember I talked about building a list, right? Building a relationship with our list. Well, the building a relationship part is where it all begins. Because now, sure, you can build a relationship with people on social media, and that's actually probably the highest quality lead you could generate, right? Prospect or contact you could generate, because if somebody's already following you, they're a friend, fan, or follower, and they know, like, and trust you, they read your posts, they connect with you, right, through social media. Maybe they comment or like or share your stuff, or maybe they reach out to you in private messages. Those kinds of people, those are the highest quality of people that you could show your business to, because they already believe in you. They already know who you are. They already know your name, your face, right? What you like, what you don't like. They're very much interested in knowing more about you. That's why being visible on social media is so powerful and important, because you get, see, I'll give you a little tip. It's not about who you know anymore, right? It's not about who you know. It's about who knows you, right? Take that to heart. It's not about who you know, but who knows you. And social media gives you the advantage, it gives you the edge, it gives you literally the opportunity to become whoever you like, right? You get to be who you want. Now, you don't necessarily get to, be somebody else, right? You don't want to ever try to be different than you really are. In other words, you don't want to try to be just like somebody, right? Because, that'd be an imitation, that'd be a knockoff, right? A replica. But you want to be your original self. That's the power and the beauty of social media in today's internet work marketing marketplace, right? We get to be ourselves, but we get to be whoever we want, and how you show up for yourself is often how you're going to be seen to show up for other people. So when you learn some of the success strategies, right, when you learn some of the concepts and ideas and the philosophies that I'm going to be sharing with you over the course of time, whether it be starting tonight or whether that be, over time that we work together, right? If you're following me on Facebook, social media, Google+, right, Instagram, Pinterest, Quora, any one of my social media platforms, if you're following me anywhere, especially at my blog, right, you're reading all my blog posts at homebusinesstipswitharonrashkin.com, if you're doing anything and following me and implementing what you learn from me, as well as the literal, thousands of other leaders in this industry, right? We have, I think, 50 million people in home-based business. We have 50 million people, I believe, who are, and that's, I think, only in the United States, if I'm not mistaken, right? 50 million people, right, out of the 300 million people in the United States have been affiliated with some sort of direct sales, whether they be a customer or they've been an affiliate or a rep or a distributor or whatnot. 50 million people in the U.S. have been a part of the direct sales, home-based business, internet network marketing, multi-level marketing industries, which means that there's a lot of influence, right, in our population, right? We do have a chance to positively affect and impact the world, right? Because if you have access, right, to that many people, right, there's that many people in our industry, that many people in our profession, that many people in our own kind of like self-contained world, right? If there's that many people that we could have access to, right, think about what we can do as an individual and as a team to spread this message of, you know, better lifestyle and hope, right, and transformation and goodness throughout the world. Right? We have the ability to change lives, my friends, and that's why I do what I do. And you know what? The money's amazing, right? The money's just kind of a byproduct. It comes in the wake of the service that you give to many, right? And so email marketing became the way for me, right, to build that relationship, to connect the dots for people, to let them know who I am, what I do, and how they could be a part of it. So that being said, Danielle, I want to have you come back on real quick. I want to take a break. We're 40 minutes into our hangout. I haven't even gotten into my email marketing strategies yet, and I'm going to do that here in just a minute. I want to take a break. Danielle, if you're there, hop out. I'm going to take a sip of water and kind of wet my whistle, and maybe you can just kind of share a little bit. You know my story. I haven't really gotten into how you and I met. I'll cover that in just a bit, but maybe you can share what's coming up for you for a minute or two.
Yeah, Aaron. Just amazing stories. Some that I've heard, some that I haven't heard. Yeah, very, very good stuff. You know, I mean, I think I've known you now for over 6 years. You came into this business maybe not knowing so much about like the technical aspects of running an online business, but one thing that came through as soon as we met was your love of people. And it completely makes sense in hearing some of these stories, you know, some for the first time, some for not. Just how you have become a master, such a master of email marketing. It is the relationship part of this business and goes hand in hand with how you feel about people. And really that you get in there not to build organizations, but to build people. And I'm so excited for everybody that's on the line tonight, because what you're going to be sharing here tonight, I know is just profound in terms of really getting in there and building relationships with your list. But it's also very, very relevant to building relationships with people before they're on their list. Anything that Aaron's going to be sharing tonight is not only applicable to sending out those broadcast messages or those follow-up messages or getting on the phone with your prospects, it's also applicable in building that list, in your blog posts, in your social media, any of that really, like you were just saying, Aaron, starting out with being the person. I think that's one of the first things that I hear so many people that are joining your team really resonate with is who you're being, and they feel like they know you coming into the front door, and then they continue that relationship through exactly what you're going to be going through tonight.
Yeah, and that is so true. You know, I always say that, you know, I may not be the best at what I do, right? I may not be the best marketer, I may not be the best copywriter, I may not be the best email marketer or leader, right? But what I know I do the best I know how to is I love people. And you know, it's funny. I had this conversation about 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, back in like late November, early December. You know, like right around the holidays. It might have even been closer to the later December. But I had this conversation with a longtime friend and somebody who's been in the industry for many, many years. Her name is Diane Hochman, and you know, we were talking about email marketing, and we were talking about opens and clicks and so forth, and those kinds of things. And we both agreed the same thing. We said, you know what? I don't care how many people open my email. I don't care about my open percentage. I don't care about how many clicks I get. What I care about is who got started with me, because that's somebody's life I have the opportunity to change. Somebody that, I might send an email out to 35,000 people. I'm going to show you guys some stuff in just a few minutes. I might send an email out to 35,000 people, and I might get a really crappy open rate. Maybe my headline sucks, where I just didn't write a really good subject for my email, and I get a real crappy open rate, but it just resonated, right? Something about my email, whether it's a subject or maybe it's the, the message inside my email, my body, right? The message body, maybe that one thing that I wrote resonated with one person. That's all I care about. That's all I care about in being successful, is just being able to influence the life of one single person, because, it's called the power of one. That one person, literally, not only could their life change, but they could change the lives of dozens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. It's called the power of one. You just never know who's going to be that one person that's going to become a tremendous success story and an influence in life. So, through one person, an entire world can change. I love that quote. You may just be one person in the world, but you could become the entire world to just one person, right? And think about it. If you're drowning, right, if you're swimming in the ocean and all of a sudden your body gets tired and you just find yourself going under, right, all you need is that one person to throw you a lifeline, that life vest or that little inner tube or whatever it is that floats, that you could grab onto, right, that you could literally grab onto and have them reel you in and pull you in and show you that there's safety there. And that's what this business is all about. It's about influencing one person at a time. And I've been blessed over the last 6 years to generate well over $10 million in revenue between the 3 or 4 different companies, including my own product, my own companies, or my own company's product, should I say? Right, I've been able to generate well over $10 million in sales, and been able to generate multiple 7-figure income. I kind of forgot. I stopped counting after we went over $4 million in income, probably about a year and change ago. But I'm probably right around the $5 million mark. Now, there's no guarantee, right, that you're going to be able to make that kind of income. There's no guarantee that what I share with you tonight is going to make you successful or rich, because I don't know you, I don't know your work ethic, I don't know what you're willing to do to achieve the success that you came here for. But what I do know is that what I'm sharing with you tonight has worked for me. And it's also worked for a lot of my members and business partners and affiliates and clients all around the world, and a lot of the people who I've personally worked with and mentored and coached and trained over the years. People that take my ideas and run with them have had incredible success. I do want to say, like I started earlier, my disclaimer, I don't know everything, right? I'm a learning machine. I'm a work in progress. I'm constantly on the lookout for new information. I study, I practice what I learn, and then I teach it, and I implement, and I actually innovate. One of the things I will share with you before we get our presentation started here, because I actually have what's called a keynote presentation prepared, is this, okay? I'm going to teach you some email marketing strategies. Some you may know, some you may have never heard of before. Maybe you're going to hear something again for the second or third time, or maybe multiple times. You'll have heard this information over and over and over again. A few things. Number one, I am admitting I don't know everything, so I'm going to suggest to you that you cut these words, I already know that, out of your vocabulary too. Because even when I hear something for the second or third or fourth or 10th time or 100th time, instead of thinking to myself, I already know that, I think to myself, oh, that's where I've heard it before, or oh, I've heard this before, right? Instead of saying I already know that and being more on the pessimistic side that you already know it, teach me something that I already know, it's better to think, oh yeah, I've heard it again and again and again, I'm hearing it again and again and again. And the reason that you're hearing it again is because each time you hear something, right, new, by the time you hear it for that next time, the second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th, 100th time, right, you should have evolved, right, into a new you, right, because your next level of success demands a new you. So by the time you hear this same thing over second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th, 100th time, that new you should be able to interpret that message and translate it in a way so that it means something different for you. I'll give you an example. Think about your favorite movie, right? Think about your favorite movie and how many times you can watch your favorite movie. And the favorite movie you're thinking of right now, think about how every time you watch it, you still find something new about it that you probably heard, right, 10, 20, 30, 100 times before, right? But because you've evolved, right? I always say evolve or revolve, right? Evolve or revolve, right? Uh, you've heard it all these times before, but now it means something different to you because of who you've become in the process, okay? Who you've become in the process. So those words, I already know that. Strike them from your vocabulary, okay? Strike them from your vocabulary. Number one. Number two, right, I already said I don't know everything, but what I do know, I know really well. And the reason I know it well is because I've been consistent. See, in real estate, right, if you don't list, you don't exist. And in this business, in home business, and network marketing, and internet marketing, right, however you build your business, right, if you're not consistent, you're non-existent, right? If you're not consistent, you're non-existent. That means whatever you do, you've got to do a lot of it, right? And email marketing became the thing for me that I was willing to do consistently over and over again, day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out, year in and year out, right? It's now over 6 years that I've been building a business on the internet. I've been able to generate not only, multiple 7 figures of income, but I've been able to change the lives of thousands and thousands of people. Last count, I was nearing somewhere in the neighborhood of about 5,000 people that I've been able to enroll over the last 6 years in business. That means people that have bought from me, customers that have purchased products from me, whether it be affiliate offers or network marketing, products, different companies that I'm affiliated with or have been affiliated with, direct sales companies, right? I've been able to enroll, right, sell to, or have joined nearly 5,000 people, and I've done it literally wearing a T-shirt, like I am right now, right? Wearing a T-shirt, sitting on my sofa, hanging out at my conference table, right, in my office, right, or just chilling out at my kitchen table, around my kids, right, doing things from my cell phone, right? I'm able to email thousands of people from my phone, right, sitting in front of a store, a restaurant, if I want to just, do like a 5-minute, email out to thousands of people, and it's made me a small fortune. It's made me a king's ransom over the last 6 years. So I want to do this. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take a short minute break or two. We're going to have a little bit of a mental break. And I'm going to go over, and I'm actually going to do a share screen, and we're going to jump into some information. But what I want to do is I want to walk away from my computer for a minute and just kind of go gather my thoughts, come back, and we're going to get started here with my presentation called 7-Figure Email Marketing Strategy. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
And for everybody on the line tonight, Aaron's about to get into some stuff here. If you're having any questions, jot those questions down. We will open this up. You can type those questions into the chat panel. We'll do that probably 2 or 3 times and get you all covered here. So yeah, while Aaron's taking a quick break here, go and get a refill on your water or iced tea or whatever it is that you're drinking. Grab a pen and paper, and we'll get going here in just about 45 seconds to a minute.
All right, guys, I am coming back. I was just looking over at my massage chair. It looks like I might want to sit in that during the hangout here. But Danielle, you back? All right, we're going to get underway here in just a minute or two.
I'm right here with you, Aaron.
All right, awesome. All right, so guys, here is what I call my 7-figure email marketing secrets. And just let me add to my disclaimer real quick. And I know that I've already discussed this with you guys a few times. Not only don't I know it all, but my forte is not designing presentations. My forte, my strength in business is communication. Right? It's funny. I hear all the time, Danielle. I hear people talk about how they feel like they've become a better person because of this industry or because of the company that they're in, et cetera, et cetera. What I really hear when those words are spoken are not so much that they become a better person. Hey, that feels great if you feel like you've become a better person. But what I think they're really trying to say is that they've become a better communicator. They've become a better communicator to themselves. They've become a better communicator to their to their family, to their friends. They become a better communicator with their business partners, or maybe their market, whether they're developing a following, an audience, friends, fans, followers. They're becoming a better communicator because they're writing every day. They're posting on Facebook. They're making videos. They're blogging. Right? People become better communicators the more they take action and the more they get enrolled in the conversations that are taking place around them in the community they're part of. So, when we say that we have, become a better person, what we're really saying is that we feel better because we're communicating more clearly and people are getting more from us and we're more effective in reaching them and getting through to them. And that's what I think is happening. And that's, where I feel that my strength is in the communication part of business. And communication is so critical because that's what we use to reach out to people and to connect with people. So, like I said, my forte is not building, presentations like this. And so I've kept my presentation to a very, very simple, basic, bare bones minimum. And if you know me, I'm pretty old school when it comes to simplicity. I like to keep things simple. I don't like to complicate things. I like to focus on the few things that I'm good at. And I do a lot of it, and that's why I've been able to generate, so much business over the last, 6 years since I got on the internet, is because I know what my strengths are. I know that the more I work on those strengths, the more I focus on those strengths, the better they become. And I don't profess to have any other strengths that, like I know where I should be having other people help me and do the things that I'm not just not interested in, but really not interested in perfecting or becoming a master of. And so here I am, sharing my 7-figure email marketing secrets with you, and I'm going to do my best to go through these, slides and share with you a little bit about, who I am, what I do, and how I've been able to do it, but more importantly, how you can do it too. So that being said, let's move through these slides here. 7-figure email marketing secrets. And here's, what I ultimately call this were, tips, tricks, and strategies. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of writing, I think, if I can get my pen to work here. Hang on a second. Oh, there we go. Okay, so you can see tips, tricks, and strategies, right? Danielle, you see what I'm doing over here? Am I moving my whole screen? What's going on there?
I can see it.
All right, good. I think I'm actually moving my keynote. Let's see if I can actually do this in full screen. I'm not sure if I can draw or not on my computer screen when it's in full screen. Hang on one second. Let's see. That would be pretty cool if I could do that in full screen. Oh yeah, look at that, we can.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay, very cool. All right, so tips, tricks, and strategies for creating powerful, compelling email follow-up, follow-through, and automated sales. My friends, that's what email marketing is all about, right? Creating follow-up and follow-through. We used to have to use a Rolodex and put our people's business cards in like this little Rolodex, and we'd have to like put a date on it and say, okay, well, when I get to this date on my calendar, then I'm going to call this person, and we would have to do it manually over the phone. We didn't have any other way to follow up unless we went knocking on their door, literally, like going door to door, following up with neighbors and friends and family, local people that we can reach back out to find out what they thought of our presentation, right? We used to have to do that. We don't have to do that anymore. That's what email marketing allows us to do, is follow up and follow through, right, through technology. And that's what brings in automated sales, because when you have the right message right in front of the right person at just the right time, that is effective marketing. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and clear my screen. Okay, so email marketing specifically, right? This is just some other stuff that I wrote, right? Some of the other definitions of it, right? The simplest, safest, and least expensive way to host a list, right? Build a relationship, and then turn your list into money. So if you're new to email marketing, right, this is just another definition for, you know, what we're doing here, right? Your best solution to crappy follow-up, right? Letting people slip through the cracks, excuse me, not having enough time to keep in touch with everyone, and letting days go by without providing additional information to your leads, prospects, and customers. That's one of the biggest reasons that we don't succeed if we're in any kind of selling business, right? And you know, marketing and selling, I always say that when the marketing is done right, the selling part's a piece of cake because very little is actually required. If you're doing email marketing, right, and you're letting days go by without providing any information to your leads, the people who are looking at, you know, you, your company, your product, your opportunity, they're looking to work with you, they're looking to join you in whatever enterprise you're in, whatever your, you know, vehicle is and so forth. I don't care if you're in the home business or, you know, real estate or insurance or any direct sales, or if you're in, you know, if you're an entrepreneur or small business owner. If you let days go by without providing additional information, especially right out the gate when the person's first interested in what it is you do or whatever it is you're selling or marketing, right? If you let days go by, you're letting them cool off, and then they find some other thing to be interested in, or they find somebody else to sell it to them, right? So the key is to build that list, and this is how we do our follow-up. So very, very important to understand that this is a very, very key part of your success, is having a list to follow up to, okay? Now, real quick, I just want to share with you, I'm a dad. This is my son, Legend. He's now 7 years old. His birthday actually is today. I spent the last week with him and got him off to school today, took him up to school with his like little snacks for his classmates, right? A big bag of triple stuffed Oreos. And we then I went up there and had lunch with him and his friends and had cheeseburgers, and he's a superstar gymnast and artist and just an all-around great kid, just absolutely like the pride and joy of my life. And so I'm a dad first. That's my number one job, and it's the number one role I have in life, is to be a dad. I'm also a dude. I love to do cool things, dude things like skiing with my friends. Love to work out. I train in the gym only on the days that I eat. If I can, I get to a gym, or I get out on a road and go for a run, or I can just do push-ups if I have to in a you know 8x5 square cell if I had to. I love to work. That's me on the bottom left, working out of my office, my conference table there, and you know, I love to travel, take vacations. Here I am sitting on a yacht with a bunch of friends from the Lazy Millionaires, my closest allies and friends out there in Portugal, just amazing people. And you know, I just love to do the things that guys and dudes love to do. So just, you know, if you're a guy or you're a gal and you just like to do fun things, that's me. I just want to live my life the way I wanted to live it. I don't want to ever be told what I can and cannot do, and nothing's stopped me yet, and nothing ever will. So I'm telling you guys, come along for the ride, because I can show you a way of living and a lifestyle mainly based on a way of thinking and philosophies that I live my life by, that has allowed me to, you know, enjoy the first 40, almost 44 years of my life on Earth. So very, very excited to share this with you. I'm also an entrepreneur, right? I've been working, like I said, from home now for 20 plus years. I've been in the home business industry now for 24 years. I got started in my first network marketing company back in the year 1991. 1992, I was 21, 22 years old, and here I am at my last, the company that I have been with for the last few years. I got my $1 million ring almost a year ago, right? I got it, I think it took me just a little bit over 2 years to get my $1 million commission ring. And they gave it to me on stage in, I think that was in Seattle. No. I crossed it in Seattle. I think I got that in Orlando, I want to say, this past October. So really, really exciting. This is my family. I have, some amazing family members, my dad, my sister, right? There's my son at the very bottom of the screen again, my brother, my niece. I've got extended family. I've got a lot of family. I've got, I think, 13 or 14 nieces and nephews. I haven't counted lately, but seems like there's always a new one coming on board. So they range from 23 years old all the way down to, I think, my youngest niece or nephew is probably about 11 or 12. So a lot of family, and then of course my family of business partners, and these are some of the most amazing people I've ever worked with in my business career. Not all of them, obviously. I've worked with thousands of people over the years, but I'm going to just draw some friends of mine here. This is my good friend Silvio Fortunato and his wife Cesarina. They're up for their $1 million ring this year. They're personal members of mine. I enrolled them into the business just a little bit over 2 years ago. Here's a good friend of mine by the name of Per Gunnar. He's out of Norway. He actually earned his first $1 million with me in 13 months. When we first spoke, he barely spoke English. I remember the conversation over Skype. He said, "Aaron, I don't speak English." I said, "Well, you did just speak English. You're good enough to have that conversation with me, and we'll just learn as we go." And Perguna went on to make his first $1 million in 13 months under my mentoring and coaching program. Here's Jerry. Jerry also, 60-plus years old. Went on to become a 7-figure income earner in home business, started with us, became a consultant of the month in the company we were a part of, I think within his first 6 months, has done extremely well. Here's Paula Garcia, also part of the Lazy Millionaires. I think she's coming up on $100,000 in income in her first 2 years. Roy and Melissa Gabriel, I think they just crossed over $450,000 or $60,000 in income. Some of my really good friends here, Donna Saicati, right, Dave Ray, right, Tim Lawler, right, Jason Liptak, right, Corey. These are just some amazing friends. Miguel Borges, right, just one of the most inspirational people I've ever worked with. Corey Rizzo, my friend Carlos Aponte and his wife Lisette, multiple 6-figure income earners. I've worked with them for, I've worked with Carlos for a dozen-plus years, probably 15 years now. My parents, Roz and Dave Brenowitz, right, Josh Boxer, Adrian Ferre, some of my close friends, family members, right, Jesse and Patrick Rossdorn, right, high 5-figure-a-month income earners, working with them, right, Amy and Carl, just great people, Harriet, just amazing. I can just go on and on about how much I love working with people and being a part of their lives and knowing them and their families and traveling and taking vacations and just really just eating up that side of the business, just like enjoying life, having a great time, and working with people on their future. So really, really cool to be able to do that. I just escaped right out of my program. Hang on one second. All right, let's see here. Now, here's some more pictures of me traveling, taking vacations, spending time with my friends, and just enjoying the life, my friends. That's what this is all about. We can talk about email marketing. We can talk about driving traffic, generating leads, making sales. If you are not smiling, if you're not having fun, you are not doing it right. You want to get around people who make you feel your best, right? I always say that your best friends are the people who you feel your best around. And that's why I love what I do. So what is email marketing? Let's get into this, right? I talked about it before. It's follow-up, follow-through, and the ability to create automated sales by building relationships with people, right, who subscribed to be on your list in exchange for information that they wanted in the first place. Let me go ahead and diagram that. I want to show you what that looks like. Okay, let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. Now, people who got on your list, right, they subscribed to be on your list. What does that look like? Well, we have what's called a lead capture page, right? A lead capture page, right? And on that lead capture page, okay, there's going to be a field where somebody puts in their email. And in exchange for their email address, you're going to give them something, some information. Okay, maybe you offer them education. Okay, it could be in a written. It could be in video. Okay, but it's called a bribe. Okay, you're bribing them. You're saying when they get to your lead capture page, when your visitor hits the lead capture page, no matter how they get there. Now, we're not going to be talking about that right now. This is not a traffic training. This is an email marketing training. So when somebody gets to your lead capture page and they read your offer and you bribe them and you say, hey, I'll give you this information, I'll give you this education, all I want is your email address, right? They're subscribing to be on your list. Now, they may not even know that they're going to be getting follow-up messages or that you're going to be emailing them and so forth, but, right, if you position your submit button where they put their email address in, right, and then they submit, right, they submit their email to you, it's called submitting it. If on your submit button you have something that says, yes, send me the info, right? They know that you're going to email them the information. So the very, fact that you're saying, yes, send me the info, or you're telling them to click on this button that says, yes, send me the info, they know that they're going to be subscribed and getting an email from you. So you're not shocking them, right? They shouldn't be shocked into getting an email. Now, let me go ahead and erase this. If your button, right, if your submit button says, give me instant access, like I see so many people do this on their web pages, it makes me laugh because not only do they not think that they're going to get anything emailed, but they'll put a fake email address just to get instant access. It's instant gratification for them. So they're like, I just want to see what's behind curtain number 1. I'll just put in, ASDFGHJKL semi, which is the, buttons on their keyboard right across the middle row of their keyboard. They'll just type that crappy email address in, and they won't even give you their real address. So not only are you starting out on the wrong foot by giving them instant access, right, but you have no way of following up with them. So don't make the mistake of doing what most other people do and putting instant access on your submit button. Probably one of the biggest mistakes. I'm sure, Danielle, you know exactly what I'm talking about as I take a sip of water here.
Yeah, Aaron, I know exactly what you're talking about here. Definitely so important to put right up there, right up front, that you're going to be sending them some information, and to not only, by doing this, you're not only alluding to the fact that you're going to be sending them the video or whatever that bribe or lead magnet is, but they're subscribing to a list just like you're talking about. They're subscribing to some consistent, valuable information from you, for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. So really important that they know that they're getting onto your list. Hey, hang on one sec. My screen looks like it's getting a little bit dark. Okay, there we go. Okay, so very, very important that you understand that your lead capture pages should not say give me instant access, right? So let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and erase my doodle, and let's move on. Okay, so the ultimate objective of email marketing, this is really important. It's called selling the click, okay? Selling the click. And let me show you what that means. Now, you have what's called a subject, and we're going to talk about this in a minute or two. But when you have a subject line, okay, for your email, the object, right, when it's in somebody's inbox is to get the click, right? The first step is to get the click, get them to open it, right? And then you're going to have the body of your email. And in the body of your email, you're going to be, discussing whatever it is your body is going to contain, and I'm going to talk about the different types of emails you can send here. But the object in the body is to get somebody reading down the page to do what's called sell the click. You want to sell the click in the body, right? And that could be a call to action, right? Okay, it could be a call to action. But the key is to get the person to click, right, on, right, the call to action, whatever the words are. Like you could even say click here. I use in a lot of my emails, skip on over here, hop on over to this page, right, go now, right? It could be any kind of a call to action, but the key is to sell the click. So your subject line has to be catchy enough, it has to be good enough to get somebody's attention. It's got to be different, it's got to be unique, it's got to stand out into the, in their inbox. I was going to say stand out in the marketplace. You got to be able to stand out in their inbox, right? We're going to talk more about that in a minute. And then, of course, through the body, right, of your message, right, your message has to be compelling enough to sell the click, right, so that they click on the link that takes them to a sales video, it takes them to a sales letter, it takes them to your blog post, it takes them to your social media post, it takes them to your YouTube or your video channel, it takes them to a lens or an article, or it takes them to a press release, or it takes them anywhere off of the email. Now, some of your emails may not have, right, a call to action. They may just be like, hey, Merry Christmas, or Happy Kwanzaa, or Hanukkah, or Happy 4th of July, hope you're enjoying your freedom today. Right? Just think, you got to get back to work here next week, right? So you may be sending out like a happy holiday message. You may be sending out like a promotion that says, hey, watch your inbox. In the next few hours, I'm going to be sending you a link, kind of like what I did here tonight, right, to get you on the Hangout, right? But you got to sell the click, right, to get the open. So I want you to think in terms of when you do email marketing, to always be consciously doing your best to sell the click. First, the subject line has to be compelling, then the body of your message, right, and then your call to action. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in just a few minutes. All right.
Hey, Aaron, I've just got to say here, because what you just went through is so profound, and so many people end up writing really, really pitchy emails because they're trying to sell everything under the sun, their product, their company, themselves, everything. And it really, really is just as simple and the most effective when you start doing what's right up here on the screen. Just selling the click, nothing more. Just getting them to click on, take that next step, and that's really what marketing is all about, and that's what Aaron's going to continue to go through. But that's really what marketing is all about: is getting somebody to put one foot in front of the other. It's ushering somebody to take that next step and that next step and that next step. And so, Aaron, you can go on, but I wanted to stop you there because that is so powerful right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm glad you stopped on it because it's such an important, process. It's almost as important as what I talked about earlier, building the list, building a relationship with your list, and then monetizing your list. You have to think in simple terms if you want to be successful. I'll just give you an example. They say that like professional athletes, right, they only have a small percentage of the random thoughts that you and I have as not being professional athletes. Now, I'm a professional marketer, and I hope you are too. If you consider yourself a professional marketer, then you'll get professional results. But people who excel in any area of their lives, whether it be an athlete or somebody in business, or say somebody who's just an expert musician, right, or an author, a writer, right, they have fewer random thoughts than the average person who gets up at 6 in the morning, showers, eats breakfast, and goes to work by 7. And stays at work till 7 at night and drives home and puts their kids to bed. The average person has like 80,000 random thoughts per day, right? The professional or the master of whatever their trade is, right, has, I think I heard somewhere that Tiger Woods has in the neighborhood of about 5,000 thoughts per day, right? Tiger Woods. Like, take any professional athlete that's at the top of their game, right, or any professional business person at the top of their game. They obsess over a few things. Now, sure, they see a billboard, their mind wanders. They see a commercial on TV, their mind wanders. So sure, there are thousands of thoughts that go through our minds every day. However, the things that you want to be focused on are very, very few and far between. So like I talked about earlier, the 3 things that we're going to be doing throughout our entire career: drive traffic, generate leads, make sales, build a list, right? Build a relationship with your list, monetize your list, right? The 2 things we do in marketing are or should I say in home business, are marketing and talking to people. And the most important thing about email marketing: sell the click, Right, Danielle? Did I go through that clearly? Does that make enough sense?
You got it. You got it. So you're not selling people on getting all in. You're not telling them everything under the sun about the company. You're really narrowing their focus, just like Aaron is talking about, to take one simple action. And from there, you're going to act as an usher for them at every single point to just take them to that next step, and that next step. Hugely, hugely effective. Awesome stuff, Aaron.
Yeah, super excited to share this with people, because I think it's one of the most overlooked parts of email marketing, is that people just vomit all over people and they don't remember to sell the click, and that every sentence, every word choice that you make has to be in alignment with selling that click. So let's keep moving here. We got a lot to cover. 5 parts to an email. I talked about this earlier, right? You have your subject, right? That's the first click that you're going to sell, right? You've got your message or your body, right? Your call to action, right? Where you're going to have them click on something, right, to go over to a different page, right? And I talked about earlier, it could be a blog, could be a social media post, it could be to a sales letter, could be to a video, one that you made or one that your company offers, right? If you have a self-replicated, video sales letter from an affiliate program or whatnot, right? Your signature, right? A lot of you that are on my list know that I sign off with kind of like a self-titled signature, like, your Make It From Home mentor, right? Your ticket to the top. I like to use what's called consonants, where I repeat the same letter of the alphabet at the beginning of some words, right? Your Make It From Home mentor, so there's a lot of M's in there. Your ticket to the top, there's 3 or 4 T's in there, right? I use all sorts of different signatures, right, with a link right below it, right? Work directly with me. Come check out my latest post, right? Check out the vehicle I'm using, right? Check out the business I'm in, right? I can link over to whatever I want to in my signature. I always put a photo. Probably one of the biggest reasons, Danielle, that I've been able to do so well is I always use photos in my marketing. In all my emails, I always have a picture of myself. You know why? Because I'll tell you a story. It's kind of like this. You ever buy a new car or a used car from a dealership, right? And you go into the dealership and you look at the car in the showroom, or you go out for a test drive, pick a car out of the lot, right? And you go into the salesman's office and you sit down, and they leave you in there by yourself, or with your spouse or kids or whoever you're shopping with. And they go, "Hey, can I get you some water? Or can I get you a coffee or tea or something? Can I get you something to drink?" And you say, "Yeah, sure, I'll take some water." So they leave, they come back. You open up your water, and what do? They walk out. They go walk around the showroom, see if there's any other customers in there that they can make a relationship or start a relationship with. They pop back in a few minutes and say, "Hey, I'll be right with you. I'm just kind of getting some stuff here together." Right? They're really not getting stuff together. They're out there doing something for a reason, because every time somebody sees their face, it creates what's called familiarity, right? Familiarity. Okay, so whenever I sign off with a photo, okay, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in, it's familiarity. Okay, every time that salesman comes back in, right, with water, with a bag of peanuts, with a box of tissues, with a piece of paper, a pen, "Hey, do you need something to write with?" Right? "Oh, let me get you a pen." They leave, they come back. Every time you see them again, it's familiarity. It's they feel comfortable, right? How in the world do you think I enrolled 5,000 people into my businesses or into the whatever programs that I've been marketing over the years? You think it's because they didn't know, like, or trust me? Hell no. It's because they are familiar. They see in my signature every single day a photo, right? I put a picture of me, whether I'm in my car, I'm at the gym, I'm with my family, I'm with friends, I'm traveling, I'm on vacation, I'm riding a bike, I'm on a scooter, I'm hanging out in front of a tree, I'm at the beach, right? I'm always putting pictures of myself, my lifestyle in my signature, right? I have, when you guys come to my office one day, you'll see, right? I have a file of how many photos I've been using over the years. I have thousands of photos that I've added to my marketing, and hundreds of them have been in my signatures. So really important. And then, of course, the PS. Sometimes the real message is in the PS, and it can have a body and a call to action just like the rest of the email above it, right? PSs are very powerful. Sometimes I'll actually do a short message body with a very, very long PS. Okay, so these are the 5 parts to an email, and you want to incorporate them. Now, not every message is going to have a PS, right? Depends on what your objective is for that email. But every message is going to have a subject, right? It's all going to have a body. Sometimes it'll have a call to action, more often than not. And then it should always have a signature. At least sign your name at the bottom. At least your name. At least a link below your name. You don't want to put a picture in, fine. Sometimes I don't if I'm using my iPhone to send out a message. Sometimes I'll just do a quick one without having to put a photo in. Although you could put a photo in using your iPhone or a tablet. It just takes a little bit of time. But if I write something on my iPhone, my notes in my iPhone, let's just say I'm at the gym and I'm riding a bike or something, or I'm walking on the treadmill, and I come up with an idea, I'll write in my iPhone, right in my notes app, and then I could literally copy and paste that into an email, click send, and mail it out to thousands of people, literally from the gym while I'm on an exercise bike. If I'm sitting down on one of those recumbent bikes and I ride for an hour, I can knock out an entire blog post or an email literally in 60 minutes and get 2 things, 3 things done at one time. Okay, really, really important. So these are the 5 parts to an email, just so you know that you obviously always have to have a subject, body, signature. Make sure, if you're doing a call to action, that it's a linkable text or an image, right? Always link your text or your images to a page, right? Because people love to hover over images. It's almost like they're like petting you. It's like they're touching your face. Like, you see your like old Aunt Betty. She hasn't seen you in like 20 years, and she like grabs you. Oh my God, you're so handsome. You're so cute, or you look so pretty, right? Well, that's what people do with their mouses, right, over your images. I know it's kind of silly and funny, but it's true. So people, when they mouse over your face or they mouse over your images, right, and your signature, the next thing you know, they're clicking and they're whisked off to your page that you're promoting. So make sure you put links in all your images, and that's what I wanted to share here. So let me go ahead and erase and move on. What do you think of that, Danielle? That's pretty interesting image, right? Little visual there. Aunt Betty grabbing your face.
Aunt Betty, yeah.
Aunt Sally, right? All right, cool. So now there's 2 types of emails that we're talking about. Broadcast messages and follow-ups. Now, when somebody opts in, let me go ahead and draw this out for you. When somebody opts in to your lead capture page, right, or your landing page, whatever you call it, that's a C there, they go into your message sequence. Right now, you should have a follow-up sequence, okay? If you're in my company and you don't have a follow-up sequence, contact Danielle, assistant to the Rashkins at gmail.com. Okay, we have a follow-up sequence that actually allows people to, focus traffic on driving into their, focus on getting traffic to their lead capture page and generating leads. And then, of course, these follow-ups go out on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. We have a follow-up sequence that goes out 90 days, right? My personal sequence, I think, goes out like 3 years. Right, I have like 180 follow-up messages that are all automated. So I could drive someone into my lead capture or drive traffic to my lead capture page. They become a lead, and then for the next 3 years, they're going to get messages, automated messages, and those are called follow-ups. Okay, and they're automated. You can set them up so they go out automatically on the days that you schedule them. You could have 1 go out on day 1. You could even have 2 go out on day 1 if you wanted to. You can get 1 go out on day 2 or 2 go out on day 2. You can have 1 go to day 3, and you can schedule them. You can skip days. So you might have 1 go out on day 1, 1 day 3, day 5, day 7, day 9. You can set them up however you like, right? And that's all about email testing. You want to see, how does your market respond? And there's reports inside of your autoresponder system that will actually tell you, who's opening what message and how often they're opening and what days are better than others, right? Which messages are open more often than others. So there's a lot of different ways to get your reports, right? Or should I say there's a lot of different reports that will give you feedback on how you're doing, right? Those are follow-ups. Now, broadcast messages are messages that you sit down to write, Now, of course, you have to write your follow-ups too, but they're kind of like, set it. Remember the old Ronco rotisserie oven, set it and forget it, right? That's what we're talking about here, right? You put your little turkey in there, and it spins around on this little thing, and you set it and forget it, right? 20 minutes later, you got dinner. Well, with follow-up messages, you write the messages one time, and they're always going to go out. The cool thing about broadcast messages is that you can send out a message on the fly, like something current. Like you can say, oh yeah, get on this hangout tonight, get on this webinar tonight, kind of like I've been broadcasting messages to you for the last few days to get on this hangout, right? We had over 200 people, I think, register for the hangout, right? So over the broadcasting for the last like 24, 48 hours, right, I got 200 people that opted in to be a part of this broadcast, okay? And so that's, or should I say, I use broadcast messaging to get people onto this video right now, okay? And so really important, broadcasting messages is really important because you can talk about what's happening currently, whereas follow-up messages are typically written and they're evergreen, meaning that they don't change unless you go in and change them, right, to kind of keep them up to the current, what's happening currently. But broadcast messages are like in the moment, Johnny on the spot, impromptu, talk about what's happening in the news. Hey, if you post something over at your Facebook page and you want people to go look at it, you can say, hey, check out this new post that I wrote. Obviously you're going to write something a little bit more compelling than that, but broadcast messages can then become follow-ups. You can literally copy and paste what you send out to people into your follow-up sequence so that they continue to grow, right? Your follow-up messages continue to grow. And you add the depth of your funnel, right? That's why I have a 3-year marketing funnel, because I write so many broadcast messages that we've taken my highest converting broadcast messages and add them to the follow-up sequence. And that's exactly what we did in that follow-up sequence that I was referring to before. If you're in the company that I'm in and don't have a follow-up sequence, right, hook up with Danielle, assistant to the Rashkins at gmail.com. Okay, so those are the two types of emails, right? Follow-ups and broadcasts, or broadcasts and follow-ups. So let me go ahead and move on here, and let's take a look. Now, there's 4 different types of email marketing campaigns, right? You can do follow-up only. A lot of companies do this. A lot of individuals do this. They follow-up only. I've seen this kind of a mistake made, by a lot of, home business entrepreneurs, especially those that we work with. Okay, they set up a campaign, or they get a campaign from somebody where they have a list of follow-ups and then they never broadcast, right? They never broadcast. They just send follow-ups only. Not a very good idea, because you want to always add your personality. You always want to talk about current events, let people know that you're building currently and actively. So even though the follow-ups are going to continually drip on your audience, you want to make sure to add broadcasts as well. And then there's broadcast only, which means there's no automation, and a lot of times people will just either be tied to their business and there's nothing going out unless they mail, and that's fine too. If you just want to broadcast messages all the time and you love to sit down and write and you're willing to clear off your schedule every day to market like that, broadcast only. Hey, companies do it. Individuals do it, and it might work for some people. It hasn't necessarily been the easiest way to build a business because you're not automated, right? We do use and leverage technology, but we're not automated that way. And then, of course, a combination of follow-ups and broadcasts. That's a great combination, right? Have automation going on, and then mailing too. And then, of course, you have what are called sequenced follow-up and daily broadcasts, where you condition, right? You condition your audience, right, to expect, okay, broadcasts from you daily, okay? This is what's happened for my lists and my subscribers over the years. They expect to hear from me daily. And what that does is not only do you have follow-ups going out, right, automated sequenced follow-ups like I showed you earlier, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and then you can spread your messages out like the deeper into the funnel, where maybe they go out once every 2 or 3 days, and then maybe once a week, right? Okay. People expect to get a message from me. As a matter of fact, I get people who mail me. They'll send me an email, or they'll Facebook, or they'll even text me if they know me well enough, and they're somebody that I communicate with daily, right? They'll say, hey, are you okay? Are you sick? I haven't gotten an email from you today. I haven't gotten a link to your blog post or your social media or your video. Is something going on? Where have you been? What's happening, right? People get conditioned to expect to hear from you daily. And this doesn't just mean leads or prospects. It could be clients, right? I have a lot of clients that want to know where I am. If I'm not mailing, there's got to be something up. I must be up to something big. I must be up to something exciting, or maybe I'm sick or something. I was sick a couple of weeks ago, and I, quite frankly, didn't really feel like doing any business. So I rested. I slept for sometimes 3-4 hours a day for a couple days straight, and I didn't get as many broadcast messages out because I wasn't feeling good and didn't feel like doing anything. So my follow-ups went out, still made thousands of dollars, right, those days that I wasn't feeling well, but I wasn't broadcasting, and sure enough, you know what? I got several text messages from people, hey, what's going on? Are you still sick? Well, because I posted on Facebook that I was, drinking chicken soup and echinacea. So people wanted to know, hey, is something still going on? If you're not mailing, your list, your subscribers, your audience, your friends, fans, followers, they'll want to know, hey, what's going on? And it's great because, these are people who become your market. They become your followers. They become buyers, customers, clients, members of your team, affiliates, business partners, and so forth, right? These people who see you in their inbox on a daily basis, right? Now, of course, follow-up does that, but of course, broadcasts are great because, it's fresh, new, and exciting new content. So good stuff there. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. We got another slide here. 6 types of emails. Now, if you've been on any of my recent, conference calls or trainings, right, I talk about the different types of content. This can go for anything. This can go for email marketing. This can go for blogging, right? This can go for posting social media like Facebook or Google Plus or anything like that, right? There's 6 different types of content or email marketing that you can send, right? Information, this is specific, okay, specific to a company, okay, product, opportunity, okay, comp plan, right, culture, right, events. Okay, specific information. You want to be specific. Now, here's what's interesting about this type of an email. Make sure that the person that you're mailing to, or the list that you're mailing to, the subscribers, requested information about this product, company, opportunity, right? Don't just send information to people that opted in, right, to your list. Maybe they opted in to learn about a recipe. Maybe you have a blog about a special recipe book that you wrote, and it's got like your top 100 Italian dinners, right? Well, don't just go pitching your opportunity, right, or product or comp plan or anything if the person that or the people on that list didn't request information about it. So make sure that you deliver on your promise, right? If you don't deliver on your promise and you send them information that's not related to what they expected, remember, expectation, and I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, expectation is everything. So if somebody doesn't get what they expect, their subconscious mind says this isn't good. If they get something that they didn't expect, their subconscious thinks this isn't good. So literally, thumbs down, right? Thumbs down on sending people things that they didn't expect, right? Too much information or the wrong information. But one of the types of emails you can send to people that requested information from you about your company, product, opportunity, comp plan, right? Culture, events, whatever the case might be, at different levels of business, right? Whether it's a lead, a prospect, a contact, a client, a customer, a member, an affiliate, a business partner, right? Make sure you provide them with good information that they're expecting and that they appreciate. Right, education. This is like training. How to training. How to do something specific. Okay? How to make a video, how to write a blog post, how to do an email, how to segment your list, how to upload, how to download, how to edit, right? There's so many different things that you could teach people, right? If your niche is, say, underwater basket weaving, how to put your mask on, how to put your scuba gear on, how to put your snorkel on, how to you know, put your basket together underwater, how do you braid the weave, you know, like you have to teach people, right, what they're interested in, right? You better know the niche that you're marketing to through your emails, right? Teach them something that they don't know. I always teach my clients and students to drill down, right? I call this the great drill down, right, on how, right, they can teach people stuff, or what they can teach people stuff. It's more like a what, not a how, but, you know, what can they teach, right? Break down your market, right, all the things that your market would be interested in learning about, right? Send them information, right, or send them education, okay? Inspiration, this is success stories, okay? If you're on my list, you get success stories from people in my company, people in my business, on my team, my partners, right? People that are working in the same system I am. I love to inspire other people by sharing others' stories. Now, I might inspire myself. I might share my own story, right? But I always inspire people by telling other people's stories. And if you don't have a story of your own, if you don't have the success you're looking for yet, feature other people in your emails, right? Just a couple weeks ago, I featured Alex and Anna. I featured Sarita. I featured Darren, right? All in 1 week. I think we had a record week of, I don't know, like 8 or 10 new members and like 3 emails. It was really awesome, right? Inspire people. Share other people's stories, right? Good comeback stories. People that, you know, were down and out and they became, you know, successful when the chips were down and they were backed into a corner and had no other choice. So inspiration, very, very powerful. Then you have entertainment, right? Right? Videos, linking to videos, right? Telling stories, right? So powerful. When you tell people stories, you have their attention. When I told my stories earlier, you guys weren't leaving the page. You were listening, you were watching, you were paying attention. Right? Entertainment. People love entertainment. That's why they buy People magazine. That's why they watch, you know, People TV shows like, you know, Entertainment Tonight, right? Everybody loves to go to the movies. They love to watch, you know, their favorite shows. You know why? Because it presents a level of certainty, right? And uncertainty, right? When you watch something that you've already seen, you've watched that movie we talked about 100 times, you watch it because it satisfied your basic human need for certainty. When you watch a movie for the first time or you listen to a new song, right, uncertainty, it satisfied your need for uncertainty. Even if you're not a risk taker, even if you're not a high risk taker, it satisfied this basic human need for uncertainty, the unknown. It's a little bit risque, but it's part of our makeup as humans, and we all thrive on that, and we all crave it. And so entertainment in an email, very, very powerful. Maybe not in the email itself, but linking to something that they could really wrap their mind around or sink their teeth into. Very, very powerful way of keeping people engaged. Then, of course, connection, right? This is the human connection, right? What do we have in common, right? What pain do we have, right? What pleasure do we seek, right? Pain, pleasure, right? These are all hot buttons, right? Through human connection. What is the thread that runs through us, right? If I'm over here and you're over here, right? What keeps us, our hearts connected, right? Do we share the same beliefs? Do we have the same fears, uncertainties, and doubts? Do we want to have the same lifestyle? Do we want to live the same way? Do we have visions or dreams of the future that are closely related? Connection, right? Talking to people, communicating with people, right, is connecting with them. How can we connect, right? Where's that human connection? What is the commonality? And then, of course, promotion, right? This is where you're marketing, okay, and selling, right, and getting them to take an action, right? Maybe there's a special bonus you're offering. Maybe there's a special event you want them to come to, like I promoted this video, right? I promoted this hangout, this webinar tonight, this special live 7-figure email marketing secrets event, right? These are the things that you can promote. You can promote a link, right? You can promote a video, right? And you can combine promotion with connection, right? You'll compel people, right? You'll move them into action. You'll connect with them through the email, and then promote to them, right? Nothing wrong with that. Provide them some entertainment, then promote to them, right? Inspire them, then promote, or provide them with education, teach them something, then promote, right? Value, 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 right? Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this in Jab, 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 right hook, right? Value, 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 right? All the value you can give, then ask, right, for the click. Super important. Value, 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 ask for the click. The value could come in the form of connection, right? Or entertainment or inspiration, education, information. It can come in any one of these ways, but the more value, the higher the value, the higher the likelihood of them clicking on your link, right? Or taking your call to action or buying the offer, right? So very important to understand these 6 types of emails that you can send to people, okay? Let's move on. Let's see what else we got here. Email marketing strategy number 1. Now, I know I'm giving you all these strategies, but the use of LY words, I'm going to tell you a funny story. I got a 90-minute massage right before this hangout tonight. I went in at 4 o'clock till 5:30, and I saw my massage therapist. And it was funny. When I walked into the therapy office, right, I was thinking about these LY words. Matter of fact, I was sitting in my car. I had like 2 minutes before I went into the office to get my massage. And I was thinking to myself, why do these LY words sell so much, right? And it hit me. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I've been asking myself this question for years, right? And here I am, like a few hours before I get on this hangout, this webinar with you guys. And the LY words, the reason that the LY words are so powerful, right, is because they minimize, right? They minimize, I'll give you an example, like the word only. Okay, let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. So for an example, like only a few short years ago, right? The word only minimizes the length of time, right, that it took, and it compresses all of the time in the past into now. It brings a person to the present, right? It only took a few short years for me to generate multiple 7 figures. It compresses time. It shortens the distance between where I was and where I am right now. And so subconsciously, it brings people into the present, right? This is good shit, Danielle. Check this stuff out. All right, check it out. Okay, so all right, another example. Seriously. Right? This word isolates, right? It isolates what I call a voice of reason. Because when I say the word seriously in my writing, so for example, if I say seriously, this is one of the most important things that you can do to your business. It isolates what I'm saying from everything else that I just said. It's almost like the word but. Right? Whatever you say before the word but is negated by what you say after the word but. So for example, I really like you, but I don't like the way you speak to me, right? How many of us have said that before, right? To somebody we're in a relationship with, right? Kids, right? Spouse, partner, business partner, whatever. I like you, but I don't like the way you speak to me. But so the word but negates the fact that you like them, and all they hear is this, right? The word seriously isolates, right, everything else away from what you're about to tell them, right? This is seriously the best advice I can give you, right? So it isolates, it provides a voice of reason from you to your prospect or to the audience that's reading your message. Okay, the word clearly, right? Here's another one. This positions you as an authority. Okay, clearly, there's nothing better than what I'm about to tell you right now. Okay, honestly, also does the same thing. It separates everything else that you said before, so that what you're about to say to them or what you say to them. Like, so for example, if I want to say honestly, what I'm teaching you right now is probably some of the most important stuff that I could possibly teach you. Doesn't it put the new stuff up on this little pedestal? right? It raises the value in what you're telling them. Okay, so LY words are very, very important. Now, you don't want to overuse them. You don't want to put them in every single sentence, because you want to obviously kind of pepper them or sprinkle them throughout your email so that they're a little bit less conspicuous, but they definitely make a huge difference in the how you compel people and in the strength of your message itself. Danielle, how about this stuff? I actually never ever taught this before. I've always said use LY words, but I've never given a reason why. It's almost like, when you tell your kids to do something and they say, well, why? And you say, because I said so. Well,
because I said so, yes.
Because I'm the parent, right? Because I'm your parent and I said so. Well, I just gave a bunch of good reasons, right? Why words actually make a difference in the copy that people are using in their email.
Yeah, it's the psychology, Aaron, and this is what you're an absolute master of, is really getting inside of the buyer's mind, the potential buyer's mind, and getting that message across in the most effective way that you can. And that's what these LY words really come down to. And I'm loving this, Aaron. We've talked about this, over the last couple of years. Always wanted to see you teach on this stuff, and really awesome to see you break down the psychology behind some of these words.
Yeah, it's words that sell. It's words that sell. So let's do this. I'm going to keep moving on. Let me go ahead and erase. All right, let's move on to our next slide. Okay, email marketing strategy number 2, soap opera series. This is one of my biggest money makers. Because when you send out an email, imagine you get and I'm sure some of you that are on I'm sure a lot of you, well, all of you are on my list. When I send an email out and I want to make sure that I keep you in the conversation, I'll send another email out about the same exact topic, okay? But what I'll do is I'll take this timestamp. It's called a time and date stamp, okay? And what I'll do is I'll add it to the bottom of my new email, so that what I sent them earlier, would be an earlier or a previous email. Okay, this time and date stamp, right, would be for the previous email, and then here's the email that I sent earlier, and then the new email, okay, will be positioned above it. So what they're really getting is 2 emails in one. So this is the first email, right? And then right below it, at the bottom, maybe below the PS or below my signature, I'll have this forwarded message, right? This time and date stamp, and then I'll have the same email that I sent them earlier. Now, some people might have joined my list maybe after I sent this first email, so they didn't get it, right? So what this does, it enrolls people. Okay, it enrolls people into what's called a conversation. Right? If some of you are Landmark graduates, right, Landmark education, you know what enrolling people into a conversation is all about. Enrolling people means that you're bringing them into a conversation that you are having, with them, or that you're having with them, but it's the same conversation that they're already having with themselves. And it's just like an on-ramp, say, to a highway. Okay? Let's just say this is an on-ramp to the highway, and here's the highway itself, right? Right? And here's the on-ramp. If you merge in nice and smooth, right, you're not going to crash. But if the on-ramp, right, looks like this, and you go straight into the highway and then get into that far left lane, you're probably going to crash. Here, you're merging nice and smooth. That's what the soap opera series does. Is it enrolls people and it merges them into an existing conversation that you're already having with that audience, and so they feel like they're a part of a group. They feel like they're now included in the conversation that was taking place before they showed up, and it creates what's called equality. Right? They're now an equal along with everybody else who got that message before they did, or maybe they didn't open it up. Maybe they've been on your list for a long time, or maybe just a day or two or whatever, and they missed the first email. Maybe they missed this first one. And now you write a second one that's, maybe not as long or maybe not as detailed, but right below it, you include the time and date stamp, It's called a soap opera series. It just never ends, right? If you watch any of these, you know, daytime soap operas or whatever soap operas, nighttime soap operas, right? The story just goes on and on and on. And I have been known to, you know, put 4 or 5 date stamps in one message. And what it does is it gets somebody reading literally for 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes. They could literally read 4 or 5 emails in a row, right? And it's a soap opera. It just goes on and on and on. And it's the same message, right? It's got to be promoting the same links, right? It's got to be the same message, right? The same overall promotion or same overall offer or story or, you know, promotion. You know, if you're promoting, say, an event or whatnot. I've done it before. You've seen me do it in a lot of my emails. If you're on my list, you get soap opera messages from me all the time. So soap opera series is my second email strategy. Let's go on and look at strategy number 3. Okay. Polarizing. Here's the key. When you market to everybody, you market to nobody. Okay? It is super important to understand that, and I talked about this earlier, successful marketing is putting the right message in front of the right person at just the right time. And not everybody is going to agree with everything that you say, but the key is to develop a base of raving fans, friends, and followers, and raving subscribers to your email list, right? An audience. Because you want to get people to either love you, right? And then maybe not they love you, then maybe they don't love you, maybe they just like you a lot, right? Some of, you know, the people maybe have, you know, issues with love, right? Maybe they don't love you, maybe they just really like you a lot because they like what, you know, who you are, what you stand for, your belief system, your values, right? And these are things people have to get to know about you. Right? That's why email marketing is so important, because you want to let people know what you think, what you believe. Combine this email marketing with social media when you're, you know, driving traffic through a lead capture page. Man, you have the perfect 1-2 punch for massive success. And of course, you have to have a high converting offer, or else there's no sense in, you know, selling or doing all this marketing if you're not making money, right? Business is built on the laws of business, not on the laws of Las Vegas. And this is not just about entertaining. This is about generating profiting. Okay, so polarizing your list, right? Don't be concerned, right? I shouldn't even say the word don't, because don't is a subconscious, you know, an invisible word to your subconscious. But here's what I'm going to say. Be more concerned about the people who love and like you than the people who don't. Okay, you're not going to please everybody. You're going to get people who unsubscribe from your list. They're going to tell you to fuck off. They're going to tell you to jump in a lake, kick rocks, go screw yourself. I get some of the nastiest messages you can ever get, right? Being an email marketer, I get some of the most ridiculous stuff. I might read it, but I shrug it off, I laugh, and I just step up and step out, and I delete, and I don't respond to anybody. Right? If you send me a nasty message, I won't respond to you. You know why? Because I don't give energy or value to people that have no value in my life. So I just delete it, I unsubscribe them from my list, and I move on. Okay? But the key is that you want to polarize your list, because you want to develop that fan base of people, those people who love what you have to say. They look forward to hearing from you because they know that they're going to get some kind of entertainment or information or education or inspiration or connection with you, or you're going to promote to them. And let me tell you, people want to buy, right? So don't worry about being, you know, too aggressive with your promoting. Of course, you want to stick to the 80-20 rule. Remember we, you know, talked about, you know, value, right? And then ask, right? So the 80-20 rule, this is called the Pareto principle. Right? The 80-20 rule, right? It says that 80% of your results are going to come from 20% of your efforts. Okay, 80% results, okay, are going to come from 20% of your effort, right? So the Pareto principle of marketing, right? Jab, 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 right hook, is you want to make sure that you're giving value, right? 80 to 90% of the time. I like to go as high as 90%, and then asking, 10 to 20% of the time, right? So that when you have this raving fan base, right, people who love and, who know, love, and trust you, know, like, and trust you, right? These are the people who open your mail, they read your content, and they click on your links. And although we do have people are very busy in their lives, right? When the chamber of people's lives, stops spinning and the door opens up and they walk out, there you are. Open arms, ready to do business with them, right? So develop a raving fan base by polarizing your list. And things you can polarize with are things like religion, politics, sex, laws, drug laws. There's so many different ways to polarize your list, but people want to get behind your opinions. They want to get behind your beliefs. They want to get behind your values, right? They want to get behind your vision. And the people that don't have a vision, they don't see themselves being successful, right? They don't have the same values as you do, or the beliefs, or maybe they have different opinions, right? These are people that might even have the people that have different opinions may actually realize that you have different opinions, but they still tune into you because they appreciate and value, right, what you share, right? I'll give you an example. Howard Stern. Howard Stern is the most loved and hated radio talk show host in radio history, but he has the largest audience of people in the world, right? The largest audience, and it's filled with people who both love and hate him. You know why the people that tune into him or that hate him tune into him? Because they never know what he's going to say next, right? They never know what he's going to say next, so they tune into him anyway. Right? So he's got not only the largest audience in the world on the radio of people who both love and hate him, right? He polarizes his list, right? He polarizes his audience, but he's got the most loyal, right? The most loyal audience in the world. This is why he's the most successful radio host ever in the history of radio. Right? He's got a perfect face for radio too, but he's got the most loyal following of any fan base in the world. Because he's polarizing his list, he's polarizing his audience, he's polarizing his content all the time. Again, when you market to everybody, you market to nobody. Get specific on who you're marketing to and speak their language. Whatever they believe, whatever they think, whatever the conversation already is going in their head, have that conversation with them and have it with them often. Okay, let's go ahead and move on here to our next.
Hey, Aaron, before you move on here,
yeah.
First of all, awesome content. We've got some questions coming in his chat, and we made a promise here that we were going to open this up for questions a couple of times here.
Yeah, let's do that.
And we've got some great questions here. So, within the context of the last 3 points that you've been through, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions that are coming in.
Okay.
So, first of all, from Bob, can you address what tips to use to revive your list to get them re-engaged after they've become dormant, uninterested, or you've kind of made some mistakes not using some of these methods in the first place?
Okay.
So, the thing that I see is any of these first 3 tips is going to get some people re-engaged, but given you were in these shoes, Aaron, what would be some of your first go-tos out of what you've been through here tonight so far?
All right, let me do this. Let me. I'm going to go ahead and actually come off of the screen share for a minute.
Okay.
Let me see here if I can find my stop screen share button. Hang on a sec. Your screen sharing. Let's hit stop. All right. I should be back on here. Am I good?
I see you, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so so let me do this. We're gonna take a brief break in the action here because I know that we've gone quite a bit of time. But a couple things. First and foremost, great question, and it was Bob, right?
Yep.
Okay. The way to revive a list is very simple. First and foremost, you have to be consistent again. Okay, so you got to start up again. Now, the first thing that you're going to do when you start mailing your list is you got to create what's called shock and awe. Okay, shock and awe. And shock and awe means that you're going to put an email subject together that is going to shock your list and create awe. In other words, they're going to go, oh my God, right? So if I had a list that was dormant, I don't know how long it's been dormant for you there, Bob, but if I had a list that went dormant and I didn't mail to that list for, maybe like months, right? And my list, didn't hear from me because I was just completely out of the loop. I was vacationing, traveling around the world, enjoying my time, and I didn't mail my list, and none of my follow-ups went out, right? My follow-ups all got shut off or whatever, or maybe, the follow-ups ran out after a few years and there was nothing going on. I would send an email out to my list with the subject like this: are you freaking kidding me? And then in like brackets or something, you've got to see this, right? So obscure, right? So crazy and different than what they're seeing in their inbox that it's just something that will compel them to open it up, right? Remember, sell the click, get them to open it up. So no matter what you have to do to get their attention, that's the first and foremost thing you got to do, is get them to click on the link. Now, the body of your message obviously has to be something that is congruent, right? Congruency, this is something that we didn't really touch much on tonight, but congruency is critical, because if they're expecting to see something ridiculously, like awesome or awe-inspiring, or just something that's so zooey and so crazy that they clicked on the link in the first place, you've got to provide them with something that is going to be congruent with what you promised in your offer, right? Remember, we got to deliver on the promise, right? Whether it's at a lead capture page or offering, some information through email. If they click on that subject and they open up your email and the subject line was, "Are you freaking kidding me? You got to see this." Well, then you better provide something really, really cool, right? And there's so much cool stuff out there. You could literally like link to a video that you find on a trending video site, right? And you post that at your blog, right? Think about how you can combine all this stuff together. Is that you create a shock and awe, subject line, and then they click on a link in the video or in the body that takes them over to your blog. Now you've re-engaged them, right? You re-engage that conversation, or you re-engage the audience. Again, make sure that whatever you're sending them to, or showing them, or discussing in your message, is congruent with the subject line, but more importantly, congruent with what they had opted into your list for in the first place. Okay, so Danielle, I want to do this. I want to take a break real quick. I actually have to use the bathroom really fast. I'm going to go and be back in about 30 or 60 seconds. But if you want, queue up another question, and I will be right back on. I've been drinking water for the last like 2 hours, and I got to go use the bathroom real quick. So give me a minute. All right, we are back. Appreciate you guys being patient. No more water for me. or else you're gonna see like water coming out my eyeballs. All right, cool. So Danielle, was that question fully answered? Did we get any feedback from Bob on that, or do we have any follow-ups to that question?
We do have a couple of follow-ups here. Let me see here, and I think I was just muted out for a couple of seconds here. Really going off of what you just talked about, you know, content, all of the different kinds of content that you can use. We've got another question here. If I don't have my own content to send to my list, where do I get the content from? Can I use a YouTube video, or what do you recommend? Now, obviously, we've talked about, you know, if you want to have follow-ups in place. If you don't have those in place, email me. The email address is in the chat box, and we can definitely get you hooked up there. Erin's been through some different types of content that you can send out, but Erin, are there different resources that you look to if you're looking for ideas, things to write about under any of those different topics that you've talked about? Tell me about your process there.
Yeah, I mean, what you have to do is you have to know where your market likes to hang out online, right? You have to know, again, more about your prospect and your product. So if you know a lot about the people that you're marketing to, and they get on your list, they subscribe or they opt into your list because they what they want, whatever you're offering to them. Okay. Let's just say, for example, you are in the home business industry, right? You're in the make money market, the make money niche. Then you could send people articles about success, about, you can send them links to videos that other successful people have made that are all over YouTube. You can go to, what are called trending topic websites where you can find videos, from some of the biggest success speakers in the world, motivational speakers, inspirational speakers. You can send people to articles that other people have written. But, for you, if content is king. So the more you create content of your own, and then you send an email out and then link people to your own content over at your own blog, right? Then that's really the best way to create that kind of loyalty in an audience. And that's something that we, focus on very much so, here in my network, is creating content. And we'll be talking a little bit more about that in just a bit.
Yeah, definitely. Good stuff. Okay, so the other question that we have here, and I was answering this, but I think I was on mute, and I would love to get your perspective as well. Should I always put graphics in my emails? Now, you talked about the familiarity aspect and always having that image in your signature. Anything else that you want to add to that? Do you want to talk about other graphics in the emails?
Yeah, well, graphics and emails are, there's a lot that can be said there. First of all, I always like to put an image of myself in the email, right, so that there's a little picture of me at the bottom of the email in my signature, right? That's what I was referring to earlier with, like, Aunt Sally, mousing over your face and then clicking on it because they see that they can. And then surf off to some other website that you want them to go to, so you always put a link in that. Images and emails are good, though. I'll tell you why. Because not only does it, like they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? But if you want to syndicate that email, right? This is stuff that I don't really teach over the Hangouts and webinars and stuff. I do this more in my office. But when you want to syndicate an email, you can actually syndicate an email by taking the URL of a syndication, what's called a syndication share, and if you posted it on social media, if you had an image in that email, right, other than your signature image where your face is or your picture of yourself and whatever, if you put an image in that email, when you syndicate that email, the social media platform will actually grab that image and use it in the post that you make. So there's a lot of merit to putting images in emails. Is it critical to put images in every email? No. Is it critical to put your face in every email, like in your signature? No. Does it increase conversions? Yes. Right? People are going to mouse over images, right? No matter whether it's you, a picture of yourself, or a picture of, say, the topic that you're emailing about, right? Or maybe you want to take a still shot of a video that you're in, or say a video that you want them to watch, taking a screenshot of that and then having that link over, right, to the page where that video is hosted. Great stuff right there. Yeah, absolutely. It helps. It's not critical. It's not mandatory. You don't have to do it, but it will certainly increase your conversions and click-throughs to the next step.
Awesome. Awesome stuff, Aaron. One more question here, and then I want you to get right back into the content.
Yeah.
So can you talk about your emails actually hitting the inbox instead of the spam folder? Do's and don'ts of what, gets caught up in the spam folders.
Yeah.
And you've got some great stuff on this.
Yeah, I have definitely done a lot of research on spam and avoiding spam and junk folders and things like that. First and foremost, every good email marketing provider like list host like Aweber, GetResponse, some of these other ones like Chimpmail, Entreport, Infusionsoft, right? Constant Contact. These companies should provide a spam rating for your emails, so you can actually see what your spam rating is based on the content of your email, whether it's the subject or the body of your email, right? There's going to be certain words and certain phrases that a lot of these companies will flag in the spam filter, and they'll tell you before you even mail it. So I know, for example, Aweber, if you have a spam score over 5, probably a good idea to go back and click on your spam filter and see why you're getting a rating of 5. I like to keep my spam filter between 1 and 3. Right, 1 and 3 out of 5. 5 is you're getting kind of close to spammy. Avoiding certain words, right? And again, every email server, right? Every email client like Gmail, Yahoo, if you use AOL, MSN. I mean, these are some of the older ones. Most people I know today use Gmail or a form of Gmail, and even if they own their own domain name with an email address at whatever their domain name is. A lot of those usually point to, say, a Gmail or a Yahoo or a Comcast or MSN. Some of these email clients have their own spam filters that flag words that you put in your emails that will obviously redirect that email into a spam folder or junk folder or the inbox. That's first and foremost is you doing an active part on your end. It's almost like you have control over that. The other thing, too, is that a lot of these inboxes now, specifically Gmail, I know, have different folders, and what happens is you become kind of like compartmentalized or categorized into like a certain folder, like for promotions, right? And you can actually send, right? You can actually send a message to your list to tell them how to make sure that they get your messages in their inbox, and it's called whitelisting your email. And you can also suggest to them that they check mark any email that they got from you, so that it's considered an important email, so that it doesn't go into what's called a promotional folder or a spam box, right? So these are just some ideas that you can do. I remember sending out when Gmail came out with this whole like folder structure, where they automatically decide for their customer, right, the client, right, whoever's Gmail account the messages are going into, they decided where the messages should go. And I remember when that first came out, a year and a half ago, I sent an email to all my lists and said, hey, don't lose touch with me, or something to that effect. And I said, make sure you follow these instructions so that you can continue to get email from me in your important messages folder, and I don't wind up in your junk or spam or promotional folder. So you can control some of it you can't. You can control the words you use, right? Watching your spam score, not making too many financial freedom. I know like one email I sent out a few weeks ago, I used the words financial freedom, and I got a score of like 5 or 5.5, and when I clicked on the spam score to see why I got that high score, it turned out it was because I said something about reaching financial freedom, and that it happens to be a very spammy phrase that home business marketers use all the time, so I got a higher spam. So just be conscious of the words you're using, watch the spam score, send the message to your subscribers, suggest to them that they whitelist your email address so that it makes it to their inbox, and then also suggest to them that they make sure that they check that it's an important email so that it always goes directly to them. One way to make sure that they want to get email from you is to deliver good value in your content. and make sure that they appreciate you getting or sending them email and them getting email from you so that they actually follow those instructions. I think that's probably the best I could offer on that, Danielle. There's not,
Yeah, awesome
it's
stuff.
a touch and go kind of subject, and it's not perfect, and you're never going to be able to avoid all spam. Sometimes my messages go into spam in my own inbox, and I just make sure I uncheck them and say they're not spam so that it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, yeah, awesome stuff. Let's get right back into the content here, guys. If you have questions, I definitely am keeping track of those in the chat box, so continue to put those out there. And yeah, Aaron, let's roll.
All right, cool. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can.
All right, so we did email strategy number 3. Let's go to 4, conditioning, right? Conditioning. This is really, really powerful stuff right here, because conditioning is about preparing somebody to buy, okay? Preparing somebody to actually buy your products, okay? And you can condition through price, effort, expectation, or competitor conditioning. Price conditioning is where you talk about something having a $10,000 value, right? All right, and you're only selling it, say, for $49.97, right? And you go through a series of value so that they see that the $10,000 is not even that much, right? And let me give you an example of this. Let's just say you have a scale, right? Let's just say that this is a scale, and you're putting on the value on the scale, right? The content, right? The info, right? The information, the education, right? The inspiration, right? That's valuable to people, right? The entertainment, the connection. Remember all the things I spoke about earlier, right? You piling on the value, right? So the scale, like once you pile it all on, right? Now it looks like, well, that's not even a good picture. Let me go ahead and erase this and I'll come back and redraw it. But let's just say this is your scale, okay? So you got all this stuff, and you piled on all this, value. It's so heavy, right, that it now outweighs, right, the price. And the price is so light that it's just like all the way to the top of the scale, right? And you just pile the value on, and then the value gets more and more and more, and it just gets better and better. The more value you provide, the less the price feels. Especially if you start out at, say, a $10,000 price point, right? And then it's not $9,000, right? It's not $8,000. It's not $7,000, right? And the lighter the price is, right, the more the value is even, it's more powerful, because you're getting all this for just a low price of $49.97. Let's just say that was your price point, right? So price conditioning can come in the form of decreasing price and increasing value, right? So the higher, let me go ahead and redraw this, right? The higher the value is, right, the lower the price is. Okay, and that's how it feels. That's called price conditioning. There's a lot of ways to do price conditioning. I don't want to get into all of them right now. We do these things at my live events. But price conditioning, really, really powerful in your emails. Okay, piling on the value, reducing the price, right? You get all this, right? All this for that low price, okay? Now, effort conditioning, right? Effort conditioning, it tells people what they're going to have to do in order to get the results. So, for example, if I'm selling weight loss, let's just say I'm selling a shake. Right? There's a lot of products out there that, in the home business industry, right, that are weight loss products. So let's just say you're selling a shake. I might tell them in my email, like, I got home from the gym and I grabbed my Vitamix, right, which is that super high-powered blender, and I threw in the almonds, and I threw in a little bit of coconut water and a little bit of soy milk, or whatever. What's a good healthy milk, right? I forget what's a good healthy milk these days, right? Not soy, but silk. I think it's called silk milk, right? And then I threw in my weight loss shake powder that I bought from my company, right? I am telling them what I did to get the results, right? That's how I make my shake, right? Maybe I also, had like, 3 healthy meals that day and I had 2 shakes. So I'm telling them about the effort it takes to get the results that they're looking for. That's one way, that's one form of effort conditioning. Okay? One form of effort conditioning. Another form of effort conditioning could be something like, I sat down this afternoon, I wrote my blog post, and I shared the link on Facebook, and you're telling them what you're doing, right? You're telling them the effort that you're putting in to, build your business. Okay? I mailed my list, right? You're just telling them what you're doing, right? So that if whatever you're selling is something that they can do too, they have a conditioned effort of like they know exactly what they're going to be doing when they buy. Okay, and this is important because not only do they know what they're buying, but it cuts down on refunds, it cuts down on chargebacks, right? And it makes a very happy customer, right? We want people to love what they're buying from us, right? We want them to know before they buy that this is what it's going to take, right? And then that leads me into our next kind of conditioning. It's called expectation conditioning, and that could be, you show them, the page that they're going to see when they click on a link, right? Maybe you show them, or you tell them, right, what to expect, right? I do this in all my emails. I say, when you get started, here's what's going to happen, right? You're going to go through a series of fast start training videos. You're going to go through, several startup steps. You're going to get an email from my assistant, Danielle Wilson. You're going to get a phone call. You're going to get on a call and schedule a one-on-one game plan call with me so we can start your personal coaching. And we can set up a plan for you to get started on the path to success, right? That's how I use expectation conditioning. You could show a video, right? You could even do a video and do a walkthrough, okay, of what they're going to see when they buy, right? They're going to see this page, you're going to see this page, you're going to fill out this information, they're going to go through these steps, right? It's called expectation conditioning. Very, very important. Good to use it in your emails as well. And then, of course, competitor conditioning. Competitor conditioning is kind of like comparing, okay, comparing something else to what you have. Okay, so I'll give you an example. And this could be considered price conditioning too, but you could say something like, I'm in a company that sells a viral blogging system, and we sell it for $25. Right? There's a company, it's a competitor that sells not a viral blogging system. They just sell a blog, like a blogging, platform. And by the time you set it up, get hosting, get your web designer and your shopping cart and all your, doodads and all the widgets and gadgets and all the things, you're going to invest between $2,000 and $5,000 for the same thing you're going to get for $25. Right? This one comes with the design, comes with the layout, it trains you and teaches you. It's got what are called tutorials, right? Over here, you're on your own, pal. So for get this $2,000 to $5,000 investment for only $25, right? There's competitor conditioning right there. Okay, so you're basically talking about what they could get elsewhere for a 10, 20, 50, 100 times higher price. Okay, so that's just another form of conditioning. I use it all the time in a lot of my marketing and in my email marketing as well, and it's very, very effective. So let's move on here. Number 5. Okay, these are things that you want to include in your emails. Okay, social proof, right? Right, when somebody makes a post on Facebook or they send you a private message, right, and they say, hey, thank you so much for all your support. I love being a part of your team. Right, take screenshots. Right, take screenshots and then turn those into, social proof for your emails. Right, if there's a product testimonial, right, use that as social proof because it's third party. It's third party, right? Testimonials. That's what other people. what other people say about you. What other people say. It's like, imagine, there's a jury, in a courtroom, right? And your prospects, your leads, your contacts, they're the jury. They're the ones that have to make the decision, right? They're the ones who decide the fate here, right? So your prospects are like a jury, and then you got the expert witness come in, right? And they usually have a briefcase and a coat, a jacket or whatever. Maybe they're wearing a hat. The expert comes in and tells the jury what they want them to know, right? Well, that's what a testimonial is. A testimonial from a third party, right, tells the prospect, hey, this is good stuff. This was a great product. This is a great company. This is a great system. This is a great culture. This is a great community. This is a great info product. Whatever you're selling. This is a great weight loss shake. This is a great legal service. This is a great makeup. This is a great health and wellness product, right? The testimonial is there to persuade, right, the prospect, right, the jury or the prospect, into helping them to make a decision, right? I already just said that right there, decisions. Okay, so images, we talked about that earlier. People love to hover, right? They love to mouse over images, and then they click, right? They click and whisk away to wherever you want them to go. All right, videos, right? You can actually take a screenshot of a video and then turn that into what's called a GIF file, right? So if you get it, what's called a JPEG, right? You get a screenshot of whatever you like, say a video, and you turn it from a JPEG into a GIF. You can actually have it move in your video, so it looks like there's a video playing right in your email. Very, very cool strategy. I did this years ago. I haven't done this in a while. Probably something I could get back to. Maybe we'll teach that at our next office event. Pretty much, it's one of the cooler things you can do with your email marketing. Okay, and then of course, take lots of screenshots. Show social proof of your own success, right? Document your own journey, right? One of the ways that I, got started in the business is when I started to see some results, right? I would take screenshots. And make sure you always have a disclaimer, right? Make sure you always have a disclaimer, because you can never make a guarantee, right, that somebody will make money. So if you show screenshots of income or people's success stories, lifestyle enhancements, make sure if you use screenshots or testimonials or any social proof for that matter, right, you always have an income disclaimer, testimonial, or should I say a lifestyle disclaimer that says, I cannot guarantee that you'll get these results. You could make more, you could make less, you could live more, you could live less. There's no, like, I remember when I was in the health and wellness industry, right, because that's my background, that's my passion is, the health and wellness and fitness industry. I used to say, this product does not promise or guarantee to, protect, cure, diagnose, or treat any disease or ailments. And you have to say that because, the regulating bodies, they will look down on that, and they could reach out to you and say, hey, you're making illegal claims, you could get a fine, you could get sued, you could get put in jail. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen if you're not smart. I've been smart for 6 years. I never had an issue because I always state the truth, which is I don't guarantee anything. The only thing I can guarantee is 2 things. Number 1, if you do nothing, nothing will change. And number 2, I can guarantee that if you do the right things, you can get the results. So those are the only 2 guarantees I've ever made. And then, of course, unless you're sovereign, I guarantee you'll have to pay taxes if you live in the United States, and wherever you live, I'm sure you have to pay taxes. And I guarantee that someday, sometime, your physical body will die. That's what I can guarantee. So those are my guarantees. Let me go ahead and erase that and move on to strategy number 6. This is a very, very powerful way to double and triple and quadruple your sales. So let me show you how this is. Segmenting and rebroadcasting, right? Separating your list into categories based on an action that they've taken or not taken, and then remailing them, okay? A lot of times what I'll do is I'll send out a broadcast, and I'll say, let's just say I get 5% of the people open it up. So let's just say I have 100 people on my list or 1,000 people on my list. 5% would be 50 people. right? So what I do is I'll run a report and I'll do a search for how many people did not open my email, and that would be 95% of them, or 950 people, right? Out of the 1,000. Oops, what did I do? I think I just screwed myself up. Okay, so out of those 950 people, right, I will create what's called a segment, okay, and I will save that segment. Oops. I will save them and I will call it no opens or no open, and then whatever the name of the email was. Okay, so let's just say the email was, live, tonight at 9, okay? 9 p.m. Right, let's just say I mail that out. Well, I will save the segment, I will check it out in the morning, right? Let's just say I sent it out at like 8 o'clock at night. At 9 o'clock in the morning the next day, I'll look and say, okay, so 5% of the people opened it, that means 50 people saw it. There's 950 people who didn't. I'm going to create a segment through a search, right? Every autoresponder system has this. I'll save the segment, call it no open, live, or whatever the email was called, right? This is just an example. And then I'll save it, and then I'll remail it, and then maybe the next email I send to those 950 people only will say rebroadcast, or I might even say you're in luck, right? Rebroadcast taking place now, limited time. Okay, so I'll resend it in a different subject line, and that's called rebroadcasting. Super simple and easy to do. You could even broadcast a third time and really milk the you-know-what out of an email, right? So you can rebroadcast it a third time, a fourth time. You could really take your broadcasts and just send them out to the group that didn't open the first one, or didn't open the first and the second one, or didn't open the first, second, and third. I mean, literally, I've done this in the last 6 years. I've done this so many times, and I've taken a 5% open rate, and I've increased it to 15 to 20%, which means that you have 3 to 4 times the people not only reading your messages but clicking on your links and going to your sales pages. Okay, video sales letter, long form sales copy, join page, whatever. Okay, so that's strategy number 6. And gang, stay tuned here because I have some really, really cool stuff. I'm going to be offering a free year of personal coaching with me at the end of this hangout here. So just stick tight, hang tight with me, and we're going to keep moving. All right, email strategy number 7. Word and image linking. All right, this is from a book I have called Get Rich Click, right? In a click-happy society, if your images and impact words are clickable links, your readers will visit your message, and ultimately your website's 100% more often. That means, again, images we talked about before, hypertext linking, right? Words that link over to the pages. When you write, make sure that you use words that will be compelling to get people to link over to your blog post, your sales page, your join page, right? Use those words in your copywriting. Very, very powerful to use those words in your copywriting because it connects with the people, and then it helps you close a lot more sales. Okay? And then, of course, I have some additional strategies. One's called message scheduling. Okay? So it's, 9:30 at night here where I live in Colorado, 9:40. Right? I may want to go to bed, sometime in the next couple of hours, and I may want to stay up late. I may stay up until 1 or 2 in the morning working on some stuff, and I may know that I'm going to be sleeping tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. So what I'll do is I'll actually schedule a message to go out, at say 7:31 a.m., Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time. I think we're in daylight now. Right, or whatever it is, right? So I may schedule the message to go out. I might even schedule a message to go out at 9:45, a couple hours later, right? So you can schedule your messages. You can schedule it for the day, the week. You can even do it for the month, right? You can even do it for the month. So I schedule my messages. Now, when do you schedule them for? I like to mail in the morning, East Coast time, right? Because I know people are going to be reading their email right when they wake up. If they don't read their email right when they wake up, right? They may read it on their way to work, commuting, sitting in traffic, right? Riding the bus, train. Okay. Message scheduling. Hang on one second. Excuse me. Okay. So scheduling your message is really, really important because it allows you to, be working. It appears you're working when you're not really working. Okay. And it allows you to free up your day. If you want to go away for the weekend, you can schedule messages to go out over the weekend. So if you're writing a lot of follow-ups and broadcast messages, right, you just put them into your scheduling, and it'll mail for you, and it'll work for you even when you're not. So scheduling is important. I like to do that sometimes when it's late at night and I know I'm not going to be up in the morning, or I know I'm leaving for the morning at 6 or 7 in the morning. I'm going skiing or something like that for the day, and I just don't want to be in front of my computer at 5 a.m. typing messages. So the night before, I'll schedule the whole entire day's worth of messages. Okay? And then what's called cycles of attention. Oops. Cycles of attention. Let me go back and right here. Now, cycles of attention means this. Sometimes we get ignored. Okay? Sometimes we get ignored. Sometimes people see our stuff and they delete it. Right? Sometimes they read it and they don't take action because it's just not the right time for them. Right? It's got to be the right time for people to open your email, read what's in it, and then click on the link. And then, of course, whatever the call to action is in wherever you send them, right? Buy something, watch a video, listen to an audio, fill out a form, right? There's a lot of reasons that people do or do not pay attention or take action, right? It's called cycles of attention. Like, so for example, sometimes, I know people don't open my emails because maybe it's the weekend or maybe it's a holiday, right? And their attention is diverted, somewhere else. And then they may come back down the road. Like there are certain people that I'm subscribed to their list that sometimes I just don't really feel like reading anything from them. And then maybe 2 months later, 3 months later, I want to read something from them. Maybe I missed them. Maybe I just want to refresh my memory on how they were teaching something, or maybe the things that they're talking about. So cycles of attention. The key for you is to be consistent. Okay? You've got to be consistent. It's what I talked about earlier. If you're not consistent, you're non-existent. You've got to be in their inbox often. Right? Out of sight, out of mind. If you're not in their inbox often, they're not going to buy from you. They're not going to remember you. They're going to forget that you even exist, and they're going to buy when they're ready from somebody else. So even though the cycles of attention might not be on you, right? You continue to build your business, and you continue to mail, and you continue to do the things that are going to continually get more attention and more focus on you, your product, your opportunity, whatever it is you're marketing, whatever it is you're selling. So don't think for a second because somebody falls off during the holidays that they're not going to buy from you. Sometimes it's better for them than others, right? Maybe they're going through a life crisis. Maybe they're going through some changes at work, or maybe their focus is on some other activity that they're really, really excited about, and they're just not in their inbox as much as you and I are, right? It doesn't mean that they're not going to buy from you. It doesn't mean that they're not going to come around. It just means that right now you've got to get comfortable with the cycle of attention span that they pay towards you, and that if they don't buy right now, it doesn't mean, a no doesn't mean forever, right? Or maybe for a better, a lack of terms, no means not right now, right? Just down the road, it could happen down the road a little bit further, maybe when the timing is better for them. So that being said, let's go ahead and move on. In between your paragraphs when you write, okay, the worst thing you can do is clutter somebody's mind, okay? And so when you write, if you notice, like I'll write a paragraph or two, a few sentences, and I'll skip like 3 or 4 lines, and then I'll write another one. Then maybe this one's a little bit longer. Then I'll skip a line or two, and then I'll write another paragraph or a few sentences and skip space. Stretch your copy out down the page. Really important. And keep your columns narrow. Don't have sentences that go like all the way out here. right? If your email stretches the entire length of your computer screen, you are causing way too much clutter in your prospect's life, right? It's just, you don't want their eyes to have to travel more than a couple inches, down their computer screen. If they're on a device, obviously, it limits the distance their eyes travel. That's why devices are so popular, like mobile devices, iPhones, Android phones, smartphones, whatever. It's all columned, but if an email goes all the way out, my God, you're going to have somebody scrolling across the bottom of their page with a scroll bar to read your email. They're gonna lose interest very, very quickly. So remember that. Lots of white space in a column. Better to go long than wide. Okay. Create that breathing room, right? Space in between, right? I use what are called ellipses a lot. These three little dots, right? After certain types of copy, right? Consumption and digestion. Let them take a little bite and breathe. Then they'll take a little bit more of a bite and breathe, and then do that all the way down to your signature and to your call to action, obviously. Okay, really important. And then, of course, extra critical email marketing strategy is just being authentic, right? Being yourself. There's nothing that comes across more powerfully than you being you, right? I don't have a little picture to draw here. Just be yourself. Write how you speak, okay? And don't be worried about what people think of you, because the right people, right, are going to be polarized to how you communicate with them, right? The right people. So if you're marketing correctly, if your marketing is done right, the selling part takes care of itself, because it's really not that much required. It's easy to sell when you do marketing correctly, and the best way to market yourself is to just be you, right? Authenticity. Right, having integrity, just showing up for yourself, and the way you show up for yourself is how you're going to show up for other people. Okay, be yourself. I didn't even realize that I made that cool little graphic there, but yeah, that is pretty cool. Okay, keep in mind a few different strategies, like just different writing styles. Impact words, it's okay to capitalize like words, right? Those are called impact words. Sensationalizing, right? Italics, bolding, underlining, right, gives a little bit more meaning, a little bit more emphasis. Highlighting, I do this sometimes when there's a deadline or a cutoff. Wrapping, right? Wrapping means that your columns are very narrow, kind of like what I talked about before. Grouping is a pretty cool little thing that I do with my copywriting and my emails. Like, let's just say I'm writing a sentence and it says, tonight, get started. So we can now begin your next level of success. Okay, do you see right here this little group of words? It's called get started now, right? Subliminally, this little group right here makes a huge impact. Because when people read, right, if I'm writing these words, tonight get started so we can now begin your next level of success, right? Your eye will naturally pick this up. It's called grouping. I do it a lot. It's probably, under the radar. A lot of people don't even pick it up, but subconsciously, you are buying, okay, when you see these words. Okay, then the use of numbers in a list. People are very, very list-oriented. And so they like to write, lists of things that they have to do, like number 1, number 2, number 3. First thing I do every day is I, eat, right? Then I shower. Then I go to the gym, right? Then I come home and I work. Sometimes I'll eat, then I'll work. I always eat first, though. There's never a day I don't eat first, and there's never a day I don't work out. But the point is that I'm listing everything. And just like you make a list. I'll tell you, you guys want to know $1 million strategy? Know what you're going to do the next day before you go to bed, right? Open up a notepad on your computer, a text edit, make a list and put it on your refrigerator, but always know what you're going to do before you go to bed, right? Super, super important. And my friends, I want to share with you, I believe, how often you should mail your list. I want to share with you that I watched a hangout like this about 7 or 8 years ago. Okay, it was a webinar. And a question was asked on the webinar. Here's what the question was, is how often should I mail my list? And here's the answer, and here's my answer. And it's true for me as well. When I mail my list, okay, let me go ahead and doodle this for you. When I mailed my list once per week, okay, I was on target to make 100,000 per year. However, when I started mailing my list once per day, that became 100,000 per month. Okay, now I didn't happen to make 100,000 in the first month that I started mailing my list once a day. It took me 2 a day, sometimes 3 a day, and I built my way up to $100,000 a month in income. Okay, so you have to decide on your market, how often your market wants to hear from you. If you're only mailing, say, a recipe book, and you're selling a recipe book or something like that, you sell, like, have a recipe of the week, maybe once a week is good. But if people want to make money on a daily basis, then you should be sending them messages, 1, 2, 3 times a day, because there's never a bad time to make money. Now, if you have a once per week recipe, list, then then mail them once a week. But if you want to teach people how to make money daily, right, you should be mailing them daily, 1, 2, 3, 5 times a day. Remember, cycles of attention. Somebody may be at work when you mail them that first, second, or third time, and they don't even see your email. So it's okay to mail multiple times per day, because the right people always want to hear from you, and they'll even create a folder for you. Right? If you become an influence in their lives, they'll create a folder for you, and those people will be the ones who are buyers. Okay, so how often should you mail your list? And my friends, I believe that brings us to our 3 email marketing tips. I'm going to tell you really quickly. Here's what they are. Okay, number 1, if you're doing large traffic mailing, meaning you're doing like a solo ad, okay, or you're in a co-op and you're getting a lot of traffic, okay, make sure that you have an email address different from your personal address, okay, because you're going to get a lot of spam from a lot of people back in your inbox. So don't make the mistake of giving out your personal address, okay? When you set up your autoresponders, when you set up your email list, make sure that if you're doing large traffic drops, that you have a different email as your from address. That's number 1. Your from address should be different. Okay, so set up an email address that's different than yours. The second thing, or your personal address. The second thing, that's number 1. Number 2, set up a vacation responder at that different address, okay? And in the vacation responder, include what's called an FAQ, a frequently asked question, so that if somebody replies back to any follow-up or broadcast message that you send to them, they automatically get what's called a vacation responder with a frequently asked questions message that has the most frequently asked questions, and it has links, right, to where they can go back and watch the video, read more about your offer, your product, your opportunity, and so forth. And this creates automation. Okay. And number 3, when you create a list in any of your follow-up or your autoresponders, let's just say your list is called, get with me, let's just say you call your list, get with me now. That's the list name that you make, okay? And let's just say you're using Aweber. So you say your list name is get with me now at aweber.com. Let's just say your list name is, become successful now. And you can name your list whatever you want. Okay, and then that's how you know which list you're in, right? I have lists like To the Top. I have a list called EN Success. I have a list now called CCCL Mastermind. I have a list called, Truth funnel. I have a list called social media leads, right? So you can name your list whatever you want. Whatever your list name is, at whatever your autoresponder is, if somebody sends a blank email to that email address, they can join your list. So even if you're not using a lead capture page, you can actually post on Facebook or a social media site, hey, I just wrote a really cool report. All you have to do is send a blank email to Become Successful Now at aweber.com, and I'll automatically send you a link to this report, or I'll send you an email with this information in it. And it's an automated way for you to build your list of subscribers using a reverse form of email where they send a blank email, right, to your list name at whatever your autoresponder company is, so AWeber, GetResponse, or whatever. And then automatically they'll get the first follow-up message, right, with whatever promise you offered. So remember, you want to deliver on the promise. So if you write in Facebook, and I've had a lot of my members do this, we teach this at my live day events. If you post on Facebook, hey, I just wrote a really cool report on how to generate leads, right? And you teach them what I'm teaching you in this tip right here. And then in that first automated message that goes out to them, they get this training that I'm teaching you right now. That's a pretty cool way to get people on your list. So that's a third little tip. And my friends, I believe that does it for email marketing tips, my 7-figure email marketing secrets. Now, here's what I want to do. I want to offer you something that will change your life. I know it will change your life because it's changed my life, and it's changed the lives of hundreds of people who have spent an entire 3-day weekend with me. How would you like to come and spend these 3 days with me, having me coach you, teach you, and perhaps even inspire you, right, to change your life forever? I am announcing, and I actually already did announce it, we have people coming here on March 27th through the 29th. I'm hosting the very first ever Copywriting, Connecting, and Closing Live Mastermind. It's right here in my own office. It's 3 days. It's hands-on, over-the-shoulder, practical exercises. We're going to be doing a lot of work on copywriting, connecting, and closing, which are the 3 skills that it takes for you to build a list, build a relationship with your list, and turn your list into money. Right? We have limited seating. We only have a certain number of spots we can fill. I'm only taking 10 participants for this event because I am going to be working with each and every one of you one-on-one at this 3-day event, and possibly longer if you're one of the first few people, so stay tuned to see how you can get that. Here's just some of the things that we're going to be doing. You're going to learn how to write powerful and compelling direct response ad copy, the kind of copy that I write. I'm going to be teaching you how to use words that sell, right? You're going to learn how to connect with your audience at a very, very high level so that not only do you connect with them, but you get engagement from them. Okay? When you put a call to action into any one of your emails or any one of your social media posts, you're going to be able to create a conversation that otherwise would have never taken place. And I'm going to demonstrate and show you and teach you how I close sales. I've closed sales as high as $40,000 in the home business industry before, and have done it literally hundreds of times, selling between $25 and $40,000, right? Hundreds of times where the price point was $2,000 to $40,000. So I'm going to not just show you how to close sales, but how to make big ticket commissions as well. Okay? We're going to be focusing on writing headlines, right? Email subjects, social media posts, sales letters, video scripts, broadcast and follow-up messages, kind of like what we just touched on briefly tonight. Autoresponder sequences, blog content. You're going to learn how to create conversations, rapport build, storytelling, interviewing, qualifying people, asking questions, establishing authority, right? And then listening below the surface, because there's very, very clear cues in what to listen for, because most people don't say what they mean or mean what they say. You've got to be able to listen below the surface and be able to decipher a person's message so that you don't waste your time, and that so you can assist them and lead them and guide them to making a decision that ultimately ends in a sale for you. We're going to talk about and go over an entire afternoon of setting up a call, the use of an assistant, framing, positioning, right? Selling without selling, right? Asking for a commitment, closing the sale, and how to leave the conversation. We're going to be doing all of this over 3 days, okay? And I'm going to be picking up all your meals starting on Friday morning, the 27th, when you show up in my office, right? We have a Keurig, we have a coffee maker, we make tea, hot chocolate, coffee. We've got a fully stocked bar. We'll have liquor if you want to drink in the afternoons after lunch. We have a lot of fun. People have some drinks, loosen up a little bit. It gets a little bit crazy in my office. We'll have plenty of snacks, bagels and cream cheese and tomatoes and veggie trays and fruit trays and all sorts of healthy snacks. We're going to have, we'll have bars. If you're a vegetarian, you let my assistant Danielle know, and we'll make sure we have plenty of food and snacks. We'll be catering in lunches on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so those are all included, as well as dinner on Friday and Saturday night. I'm going to take you to two of my favorite local hotspots. We'll probably do sushi one night, possibly Italian the other night. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll have a great time. We have a local hotel, okay? Right up the street, it's 7 minutes from the office, right? It's $119 per night at the local hotel, includes breakfast in the morning. It's like a breakfast buffet. It's really good. And so what does this cost? What does it cost to spend 3 days with me? Now, I want to share something with you. I've done multiple events in my home. I have an event that I used to run called Day in the Office, right? I've had over 200 people come through the doors. I hosted an event called the Rocky Mountain Mastermind, right? And I've also hosted what's called the AFL Mastermind, stood for Action, Freedom, and Legacy. People have paid as much as $10,000 to spend 3 days with me, okay? So there were people that were telling me that I would be crazy not to charge $10,000, but I said no way. We thought about $89.97, so that would be like a $9,000 price point. No, wasn't going to work. $8,000, no, it wasn't going to work. $7,000 wasn't going to work. Neither was $6,000. We brought this down to $4,997. You have options to pay it either one time. We can do what's called a two-pay, right, where you pay 2 installments of, I think it's $25.97, right? So you can pay tonight and then pay right before the event on the 27th. We even have a 3-pay where you can pay 3 times for $1,790. I think it's $1,765 actually. $1,765. You're going to get the entire event literally for about $4,997. You pay once, pay twice, pay 3 times. It's going to roughly, we have a little bit of merchant fees we have to pay if you pay these extra times. So it's going to come out a little bit over $5,000 if you do a 2 or a 3-pay. But you're getting it roughly for $5,000, right? And I want to share with you what else I'm giving to you. So you don't just get the 3-day event, but you're going to be in a private Facebook group with myself and the other participants. We're going to have 3 follow-up hangouts, right, over the following weeks after the event to go over what we covered, answer any questions, do some marketing reviews, give you some feedback. And for the first 5 people who join, right, out of this webinar, out of this video, right now you're watching this, we're going to give you access to my Players Club absolutely free. These, I believe, Danielle, how many are there? 8 or 10, maybe even 12 different trainings that I have done for different companies and different product launches over the years that is timeless information. It is worth $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month for some of you. For the first 5 people, I'm giving you free access to my Players Club for life, okay? And for the first 3 of you that buy off this hangout tonight, up until this Saturday night, okay, first 3 people that purchase are going to get a 1 year of private one-on-one coaching with me where we're going to meet once a month to go over your goals, go over your game plan and your objectives, and we're going to meet up once a month for an entire 12 months. And you're going to have me as your personal coach to assist you in growing whatever business you're in, work on whatever areas of your business that you're feeling that you can improve or get better. And I'm telling you, this is life-changing. A year of private one-on-one coaching with me is worth about $25,000, at least $25,000. Because you got to figure an hour of my time is worth in the neighborhood of about $3,000 to $4,000, because that's what I've been able to earn over the course of a year. Right? I've had years of 7 figures in total income. So for an entire year of coaching with me, we're talking $25,000, $30,000 minimum. I'm giving it to you, the first 3 people only off of this hangout, for $49.97 if you buy tonight. So that being said, my friends, I want to say thank you. I know we've been on this call for now close to a little bit over 3 hours. We covered a ton about email marketing. We covered a ton about content creation, copywriting, right? We're going to be covering at my live event here in 2 weeks from this Friday, copywriting, connecting, and closing at a level that if you liked what you saw tonight, this will be the most transformational weekend of your business career. I promise you, this will become something that you will live with. It will live with you forever. It will be something you talk about for decades to come, because what you learn here in this office house with me and about 9 other people, we're going to have a room full of 10 people. And if you're one of them, I can tell you this could be the turning point for the rest of your financial life and career. So that being said, guys, thanks for being here. The way to get get yourself a seat at my mastermind, at this CCCL mastermind, is if you're ready to go right now and buy, okay, just go to aaronrashkinproducts.com. You'll see a 1, 2, and a 3 pay at the bottom of the page. If you want more information, you want to read a little bit more about it, I set up a blog post for you at ccclivemastermind.com. We've actually got, I believe, 2 or 3 posts and information about the mastermind if you want to go read it. Or just contact, if you want to ask Danielle questions, reach out to Danielle Wilson, my awesome assistant, at assistanttoTheRashkins@gmail.com, or call her direct tonight at 480-766-9600. Again, 480-766-9600. And again, if you're one of our first 3 people to buy tonight, you're going to get a year's worth of coaching. You're also going to get a free membership to my Players Club, and of course you'll get access to our Facebook group and the 3 follow-up hangouts after we finish our mastermind here through the month of April and part of May. But again, first 3 people, free year of coaching with me once a month, 1 hour, review your entire business, talk about whatever's troubling you in building your business and making money. That being said, gang, I appreciate your time and attention. I know there's a lot of things you could have been doing tonight. This is Aaron Rashkin, Aaron Rashkin, with my 7 email marketing, or should I say my 7-figure email marketing secrets. Have a great afternoon. Have a great evening, wherever you're calling in from. This one is a wrap, over and out. Thanks for being here. I'm going to go ahead and jump off the copywriting, or should I say the full screen. I'm going to go ahead and come back to the screen here for you. And I want to say thanks to all of you for being here. I appreciate every one of you for investing the time with me tonight. I hope this helped. Any feedback you can give, I would really appreciate it. In the comments below, over on my Facebook wall, you can just go to aaronrashkinfacebook.com. And I look forward to meeting a lot of you here. I look forward to meeting you at our next live event, coming up here in 2 weeks in my home office, a year's worth of coaching. Go now, aaronrashkinproducts.com. Have a great evening, everybody.